lights on.
Okay, try it now.
Good evening. I want to welcome everybody to the January 12th Williamson County Commissioner meeting. As a reminder, if you haven't already done so, please silence your cell phones for the duration of the meeting. First item on our agenda is always the invocation followed by the pledge. Tonight's invocation and pledge will be delivered by District 10. Invocation will be given by Commissioner Bill Petty. The pledge to be led by Commissioner Megan Guffey. Please rise.
We all bow. Dear Lord God, we come before you tonight to discuss, debate, and make decisions for our county. We know that you are in our presence because you promise when two or more of us are gathered together, you are there. And do we know you're in control? Well, when Jesus was challenged by Satan in the desert, he said, "Man does not live by bread alone, but every word that comes from the mouth of God." So everything we have, everything we do, everything we think comes from one source. It comes from our God. So we're here together to recognize that. In that process, I pray that the Bible verse, Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. I pray that we listen attentively to one another, that we seek to understand before we're understood, and that the decisions we make tonight are the best decisions we can make for our county. And I also want to pray just now for our country and for the world. There's a lot of turmoil, obviously. And I pray for peace. I pray for understanding. I pray for healing. There's a lot of hurting people right now. And we need to pray for them and find ways to reach out with them and help them in their strife. In the name of our Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ, amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on our agenda is the roll call. If the commissioners have not yet done so, please hit your present button. Record the roll, please, Mr. Whitby.
I have 23 present, 1 absent. Commissioner Torres absent.
And Commissioner Torres did call and said he would probably be late, but he doesn't plan on attending this evening, and we'll expect him when he is able to arrive. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the November 10th Commissioner meeting. Copies were mailed out to each of you. I've got a proper motion from Commissioner Tunnicliffe, seconded by Commissioner Steve Smith. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes of the November 10th Commissioner meeting? I see none. If we're ready to vote, if you're in favor of approval of the minutes, indicate by pressing your yes button when it pops up. There we go. If you're not in favor, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time.
If you're not present, you can't push your no button.
Who's not present?
It says I'm not present.
It says he's absent.
Oh,
Ricky Jones.
yeah, we have Mr. Whitby. Ricky Jones is showing as absent.
Yes, my vote is yes.
His voice voted as yes. If you wish, go ahead and record the vote, Mr. Whitby.
I cannot get this.
Now it's election.
They are not promoting the screen forward so I can.
Okay.
There we go. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Just before we go into citizens' communications, I was told by council that I can go ahead and make the statement that Resolution 12629 has been pulled by the author. Normally, that statement would be made after citizens' communications, but we thought that there might be those present who would like to know that it's pulled before they speak or opt to speak or not speak. So if you've signed up to speak, obviously you still may do so. And you can speak to that resolution if you wish. Just know that we will not be hearing that resolution tonight. Again, that resolution being 12629. With that, we'll move on to citizen communications. Our rules allow up to 3 minutes per speaker. And we have tonight 4 speakers. I will call you out in order in which you signed in. If you would, when I call your name, come to the podium and announce your name along with the town in which you live. First, I have Mr. Mike Ryan.
I can't turn the mic on until they do that.
And Mr. Whitby, if you could, Diane's unable to turn the mic on to the podium.
Advance the screen.
It's not on.
No, give me just a
Give us
second.
just a second. Normally, if they advance the screen, we're able to turn that on. Here we go.
Thank you.
I don't-
Now you're live.
Go ahead, Mr.
Okay,
Ryan.
great. Thank you very much, Mike Ryan. And I'll make my comments very short. I want you to know that as a taxpayer from Franklin, Tennessee, I support taxpayer transparency for the potential sale of the Williamson Medical Center. It appears that key aspects of the evaluation process have happened behind closed doors, with potential sale proceeds to be put into a trust overseen by unelected officials, unaccountable to tax-paying voters. Last month, 2/3 of you voted to change our state law that would allow sale funds to be returned to the county and its taxpayers, therefore, which would help shrink our $1.1 billion in debt. And that, of course, equates to about $4,400 per resident. I just want to thank the 2/3 who voted for this last month and implore the others to make the next vote 100%. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Next, I have
Thomas.
Vaincourt. Mr. Thomas Vaircourt or Vaincourt. Hopefully I'm not
Viger.
butchering that too terribly.
Don't worry about it, Commissioner. Everybody butchers it. My name is Thomas Vinecourt. I am a tax-paying citizen of the city of Franklin as well. I'll be even more brief than Mike. I merely want to reinforce what my friend Mike Ryan said. I agree with everything he said. I think if we're going to sell the hospital, the proceeds should stay right here in Williamson County, and more specifically be used to pay down debt. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Vaincourt. Next, we have former Commissioner Todd Kestner.
Good evening. Thank you. Obviously, I'm coming to you tonight as a simple private citizen. I want to say that I think you are one of the best county commissions in the nation. I really believe that. I appreciate your commitment and your dedication very much. When I served on this commission, we had to build schools at an incredibly fast pace. But it was the right investment to make at that time. We did incur a lot of debt, and most of that remains with us today. As an aside, the state of Tennessee has a debt level that's about $266 per capita, and my calculation is a little different from what I heard a minute ago. Our county has a debt of about $4,044 per capita. And now we face the upcoming cost of building the new jail and juvenile justice center, both of which are much needed and will increase our debt. Allow me to digress for just a moment and declare that I truly love our great hospital. They saved my life literally in 1983 following a very bad accident. I greatly applaud your prior passing of the resolution to allow any proceeds from the sale of the hospital to benefit our taxpayer owners by enabling a reduction of our county debt. As I've been talking with voters, a great majority of them express significant concern about our rising debt level. Thank you for your dedication and your service to our county. I applaud your far-sighted thinking. Thank you.
I'm doing that under communications and messages. Thank you, Mr. Kestner. And our last speaker tonight is Mr. Steve Hickey.
Before I start, I'd just like to say, Todd, there's no such thing as a plain, simple citizen, and certainly not you, sir. Respected members of the County Commission, I'm Steve Hickey, Franklin resident and chairman of the Williamson County Republican Party. And I speak with you tonight in that capacity to state the official position of our county party on the potential sale of Williamson Medical Center. Our county hospital was formed nearly 7 decades ago as a nonprofit hospital owned by the citizens of Williamson County. Over the years, those same citizens have made continued investments in this public asset. The hospital belongs to the taxpayers of Williamson County. We, the taxpayers, have a rightful expectation regarding its disposition. A transaction of this magnitude is a significant undertaking for the county. As such, it demands the utmost in transparency and avoidance of conflicts of interest. This will ensure not just confidence in this process in the taxpayer's mind, but also that the taxpayers receive top dollar for this very valuable asset. Current state law requires, after payment of hospital-related debts, that the net proceeds from such a sale be put into a foundation or trust administered by unaccountable appointees. That's not acceptable. Our position is that the net proceeds must be returned to the county general fund so as to pay down debt or offset capital projects that would otherwise incur debt. We thank the commissioners who have supported a legislative remedy to this situation. Thank you. However, your work will not be done with the passage of such a bill. We urge you to follow through and return the full measure to the Williamson County taxpayers. To summarize, we, the Williamson County Republican Party, support the sale of Williamson Medical Center only if the proceeds from that sale are returned to the county general fund and not sequestered in a trust or foundation. This is the taxpayers' money. They should be able to use it how they see fit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hickey. And that concludes citizen communications. Moving on now to communications and messages, we have 2 proclamations this evening. For the first one, I will call on Commissioners Clifford, Herbert, Hester, Lawrence, Sanford, Mary Smith, Steve Smith, and Commissioner Stresser for a proclamation honoring the 2025 Page High School Patriots football team.
Steve, y'all go on that side, they're gonna come on this side.
Okay.
You wanna have them come over?
Okay, thank you. I'd like to go ahead and ask the Page football team to join us up here, coaches and players. If you could come around the front.
They're coming here,
Right
they
around
know where
front.
they're going.
Yes.
Hey, shout out to her dad.
Congratulations, big team. Got everybody? Okay, y'all ready? Okay, here you go. This is a proclamation honoring the 2025 Page High School Patriots football team. Congratulations. Whereas the Page High School Patriots football team made school history by winning its first ever state championship, capturing the Class 5A Blue Cross Bowl title on Friday, December 5th, 2025 at Finley Stadium in Chattanooga, defeating Sevier County 21-14 and completing a perfect 14-0 season. As somebody who watched one of those championship games against Sevier County, I'm just really proud of you guys. Congratulations. Whereas the championship marked the culmination of one of the most successful eras in Tennessee high school football, with Page compiling an extraordinary overall record over the past 4 years, suffering only a handful of losses, several of which came in previous state finals, while establishing the program as one of the most consistent and dominant in the state. And whereas in a thrilling rematch of last year's championship, the Patriots secured victory with a decisive 45-yard touchdown with quarterback Cameron Cruz to Caden Ackerman with 58 seconds remaining, delivering the long-awaited breakthrough that had eluded the program in 4 consecutive state title appearances. And whereas the Patriots demonstrated exceptional resilience throughout the postseason, delivering defining defensive stops led by state championship MVP Cohen Grissom, along with strong performances from Sean Cunningham, Emmanuel Calvin Johnson, Jordan Curl, Jake Rathbone, Knight Wilson, and many others. And whereas offensive momentum in the second half was propelled by touchdown from James Pierre and Knight Wilson, complemented by Cruz's efficient passing and leadership under pressure. And whereas, under the leadership of head coach Charles Rathbone, Coach of the Year, the Patriots exemplified perseverance, unity, and pride, representing Page High School in the Rudderville community with outstanding character and determination. And whereas this historic championship stands as a proud milestone for Page High School, inspiring students, alumni, families, and supporters across Williamson County. Way to go. Now here's the fun part. I get to name you all. Okay. Freshmen, Riley Crandall, Elijah Kincaid, Austin Belsky, Chance Gregg, Brandon Beckett, John Ryder, Bennett Klump. Sophomores, Isaac Oti, Talon Cisneros, Olin Hapgood, Everett Humphrey, Jacob Smith, Jackson Nestor, Tyson Robbins, Wrigley Braden, Braden McGowan, Harrison Griffin, Hatton Cozart, Grant Pittman, Will Plotz, Graham Johnson, Graham Griffin, Cooper Mueller, Kingston Wells, Nicholas Brady, Random Giles, Levi Wynn, Ryland Wright, Evan Van Utrix, Bennett Kaufman. Did I get that right? Okay, good. Bennett Kaufman, Everett Tutt, Frankie Petruno, Rhett Atkins, Thomas Dowling, Owen Yarbrough, Joseph Guerra, Connor Sullivan. Juniors, Elijah Pimentel, Ryder Casillas, Peyton Dickerson, Drew Rempel, Cameron Cruz, Kyle Webush, Mac Lee, Colin Mulick, Flynn Steele, Quincy Finley, Paxton Walters, Grant Dickens, Liam Strother, Asher Lorenzen, Grant White, Sam Gorzen, Liam Perry, Nolan Belu, Porter Whitehead, Jonathan Baba, Caleb Kaufman, Jovan Hacker, Daniel Callahan, Cash Kulias, Jesse Kitts, Preston Ashmore, Ryan Naranchich, hopefully I said that right too, and seniors, Knight Wilson, Colt Brown, Sean Cunningham, Caden Ackerman, Tyson Cobb, Grady Kaysen, Levi Sissel, Cohen Grissom, Colton Zulke, Eli Bell, James Pierre, Wyatt Heck McGinnis, Maddox Morgan, Dabs Matthew, Jacob Rathbone, Emmanuel Johnson, Jordan Curl, and Sloan Bass. Head coach, Charles Rathbone. Assistant coaches, Kurt Annis, Jay Emmons, Jason Hoth, Stephen King, Jerry McGlown, John Nestor, Miller Polk, Travis Shepard, Sean Temple, Scott Wells, Caden Williams, Shane Williams, and James Wolfe. Now, therefore it be resolved that the Williamson County Board of Commissioners, meeting in regular session on this 12th day of January 2026, hereby congratulates the 2025 Page High School Patriots football team on winning the first state championship in school history and for their exceptional representation of Page High School and Williamson County. Thank you.
Can everyone look at Miss Macy?
Hey guys, everybody up front.
Over here. Thank you, guys.
That's right.
And congratulations once again to the Page High Patriots football team. Our next proclamation tonight has to do with the 2025 Summit High School girls volleyball team state champions, and I'll call upon Commissioners Cardin, Herbert, Hester, and Mason.
Those guys are going out and the ladies are coming.
I got you.
They were in the hallway because they didn't have seats.
And I believe they are out in the hallway.
Here they come. Bringing in the goals.
Just kind of circle it.
That's right. Nice.
Yeah, if y'all just want
Don't
to kind
be
of group up
bashful.
right there and hold it or put it on the floor. All right, ladies. Proclamation honoring the 2025 Summit High School girls volleyball team as state champions. Whereas the Summit High School girls volleyball team won the Class AAA state volleyball championship for the first time in the history of Summit High School, which opened its doors in 2011. And whereas in securing this historic victory, the Spartans closed their season by defeating Brentwood High School 3-2 in an intense and hard-fought state championship match. And whereas the championship match was fitting as it marked the fifth meeting between the two teams during the season, with the series tied 2-2 entering the final contest. And whereas during the championship match, the Spartans collectively registered 68 kills, 64 assists, 9 aces, 63 digs, and 13 blocks, demonstrating excellence in every phase of the game. And whereas junior Emery Estep recorded an impressive 22 kills, with senior Maggie Calise adding 13 more, powering the Spartans' offense, which was expertly guided by setter Mandy Shanahan, who was named the championship MVP. And whereas the Summit team entered the tournament as state newcomers, but emerged as state champions, displaying resilience, composure, and unwavering determination throughout the week. And whereas the Summit High School girls volleyball team members and coaches include seniors Amanda Shanahan, Bells Lambert, Kendall Williams, Maggie Calise, and Skylar Lambert. Juniors Ari Pogue, Emmy Estep, Madison Spelta, Micah Hayes, Tessa Rowe, sophomores Charlie Johnson, Julia Hill, Noni Yancey, and head coach Warren Riker, assistant coaches Avery Davis, Delaney Gallagher, and Lily Dahlstrom. Whereas this remarkable group of athletes and coaches has brought great pride to Summit High School in Williamson County through their sportsmanship, perseverance, and exceptional performance on the state's biggest stage. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners, meeting in regular session this 12th day of January 2026, hereby congratulate the 2025 Summit High School girls volleyball team as the Class AAA state volleyball champions, and recognize the level of excellence exemplified collectively by the team and for the numerous outstanding individual student athletes. Congratulations.
And congratulations once again to the Summit High School girls volleyball team. Both teams make Williamson County proud tonight. Last, under communications and messages, Commissioner Bill Petty would like to make a brief remark concerning Resolution 12629.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I pulled it, but it's not dead. We had a meeting, the tax study committee had a meeting Wednesday night and just did a fabulous job of going through the resolution and finding places that we needed to change and correct. And Christy Ransom was there to help out, and she followed our requests and wrote some amendments to it. So there were enough amendments that I thought it might get confusing and it would take us too much time tonight to go through them all. So I'm going to rewrite it and get ready to submit it for the February meeting. So we'll be discussing it then. I hope that it has generated some conversation. Well, I know it's generated some conversation in the county, and I think that's a good thing. We need to think about these things, and we need to be looking at the future of our county. I know we all believe that, and we all think that's important, and I'm excited to see what comes up in the next couple of months. So that's the situation, and thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next item on our agenda is reports of county offices. I'll call upon Mayor Rogers Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me start by saying we'll ask Phoebe to come up. She's the general, and I'll let her give an overview.
Thank you, Mayor Anderson, and good evening, Commissioners. This evening you will find in your packet there are 3 reports on debt obligation, which includes the County District School Bond, the General Obligation, both Series 2025, as well as the General Purpose School Fund Tax Anticipation Note. These were all issued in November, so do not fret. I have not tried to slide anything by you. There was not issued. Each of you received a copy of these reports back on November the 21st. However, part of my legal responsibility is to make sure they're also included in person at the next meeting, public meeting, which is this evening, and to ensure that that has been acknowledged within the minutes. So that is why you have those reports again. I have submitted those on behalf of the county for you to review, and any questions, please feel free to ask. This evening, since we did not have a December meeting, I will report on October and November numbers. The privilege tax collections for the month of October was a little over $1.1 million. And for the month of November, privilege tax for the month collections was 1.4. So you can see we are continuing to stay very steady in our collections from month to month. In October, we did collect a small amount of commercial privilege tax in the amount of $274. In January will be our first time that we have opened that up, as you all had passed for those to be extended, that privilege tax for commercial throughout the county. You will not see that until after the first of the year, which I will report to you next month. Education impact fee for October is 1.6, and for the month of November, collections was 1.9. Our Cool Springs Conference Center received a profit for both the months of October and November. In October, we received a profit of $151,052. And for the month of November, we received a profit of $64,214. This brings our net profit to date, to fiscal year date, of $168,079 for the Cool Springs Conference Center. This concludes my report. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take those at this time.
Any questions for Mrs. Riley? I see none.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we have one other report. This is from Chris Jones and William Bradford. Chris, as many of you know, is from Middle Tennessee Electric. I guess it's a presentation more than a report. And then William Bradford is the CEO, President of United. So I'm not sure who to call on or what. William.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. Do we have our slides up?
No.
Gave us a second to get your slides up.
Adrian.
I'll be real quick while they come up. As Mayor Anderson said, my name is William Bradford. I'm the CEO of United Communications. We are a local internet provider headquartered right here in Franklin and Berry Farms. We're part of the Middle Tennessee Electric Organization, and I think everybody knows Chris Jones, the CEO of Middle Tennessee Electric, and Chuck Barber, who has heroically led our government relation efforts over the years. So we are so excited to be here tonight. And it's half update, half presentation. We're going to keep it real quick because I understand y'all have been here past midnight many nights. As local executives, we really appreciate what y'all do to make this a great place to invest in a community. We like to joke, once you build infrastructure, you can't move it. And this is a wonderful place to have invested hundreds of millions of dollars in infrastructure. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, perfect. We'll keep this real quick. We're a local company, but we're not small. United alone has invested over $250 million in broadband infrastructure in Middle Tennessee. We're very committed to the communities we serve. We've brought over $100 million of federal and state grants to this region and are a leader in fiber optics in our communities. In 2022, as many of y'all know, you were hearing from many of your constituents about the lack of broadband in Williamson County. Williamson County, like many counties, still suffered in the rural areas by lack of broadband. Over 15,000 homes and businesses didn't have access in our community alone to reliable internet. Mayor Anderson challenged us to come up with a solution to see that every single resident of Williamson County got access to broadband, and you, this commission, supported our initiative to partner together and seek ARPA grants for this region, and we were very successful at doing that. The commission stepped up and supported with your own ARPA money a little over $2 million. We brought almost $20 million of state grants as part of that project, and United funded the rest. As a result, United has invested over $60 million in Williamson County alone in broadband infrastructure, and we have virtually eliminated the lack of broadband in Williamson County. It's been a great success. You can see here, I know everybody likes to see maps, so that's the only reason I brought slides. You can see we kept to our word and we focused on the rural areas first. The green means we have brought broadband service to these areas, and as you can see, we've served the four corners of the county. We're pleased earlier, or in the middle of 2025, to announce we're now bringing our services to Franklin and Brentwood. But as you know, we're a rural first company. We brought fiber to the areas of greatest need. And I'd like to just make a real quick comment. I know we're so quick as executives of the county and executives of our business to turn to the next challenge and the next opportunity. And so we really wanted to come tonight and express our gratitude of a successful project and take a minute and celebrate things that worked really well with a meaningful investment to us, but a relatively small investment. The county has spurred over $60 million of broadband investment and solved a need for its citizens, and we couldn't be happier about the partnership with Williamson County, and we're very appreciative. We worked hand in hand quite regularly with Mayor Anderson and Commissioner Webb, who you all charged to ensure these grants were spent wisely and benefited your constituents. And so more than anything, on behalf of Chris Jones, Chuck, our team of over 750 local employees right here in Middle Tennessee, we want to express our gratitude, and we've got a token of appreciation to share with you all. Not much, but we do want to recognize and officially certify that Williamson County is now an 8 gig certified community. And what that means is you all now have access to the state's fastest internet. And not only that, we back it up with the privacy our citizens deserve and local customer service right here in Middle Tennessee. So we're very excited to partner with you and make a huge impact on infrastructure investment in the county. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think, Mr. Bradford, if you don't mind, I think Commissioner Tunnicliffe wants to say a few words.
I also want to just reiterate the fact that United brings, if we are serving that area, free 8 gig internet to all our volunteer fire departments at no charge. And that matters to those guys. I think Commissioner Sanford will agree with that. So thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you.
Well, as a follow-up to that, appreciate William acknowledging and recognizing what they have done united, but it really would not have been possible without several years ago, Chris and the board at Middle Tennessee Electric taking a risk, taking a gamble, stepping out there on the plank to ensure that we had the services we've got. And so thank you to Middle Tennessee Electric and to their board for believing that they could make this happen, and thanks to William for actually making it happen. They're homegrown products, and we appreciate you all very much. Thank you very much. So with that, I'll entertain any questions, Mr. Chairman, that you may have.
Any questions for the mayor? Commissioner Lawrence.
Good evening, Mayor. Question about the property we voted on last month at the H.G. Hill property regarding the new judicial center. Where are we on that, and how much time do we have to do a study under the option?
So to try to answer your question, the due diligence process is ongoing. That's phase one. I don't know, is Kevin here?
No.
I think that's phase one and phase two, so we're doing the due diligence on that. Once that report comes back and we get the all green that the there's no hazardous hazardous material, or if we have to mitigate it, we'll know what. I cannot report to you that because I haven't got the results back in. We do have 120 days, Bobby. Once the time clock starts, we have 120 days in which to exercise our options on that property, which you all will have to decide whether we go with that location. I suspect you will see this in more likely February, maybe into March, depending on the reports we get.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions for the mayor? I see none. Next up, we have reports from Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Jason Golden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Commissioners. We don't have any funding request on your agenda tonight, but I will take this opportunity to thank you again for celebrating our students. Every time we have that opportunity, it makes me smile. I will tell you specifically, Commissioner Smith, thank you for naming each one of those individual students. You know, years ago, decades ago, a student might have seen their name in the newspaper, and there's something special about their actual name getting shared. So thank you all for that. You know, our vision statement is that we will provide a supportive environment where students are challenged to excel in academics, athletics, and the arts. And you all support us in that endeavor. Those moments of success are definitely worth celebrating. But I did want to let you know that out in the hallway after you celebrated them, Coach Rathbone took an opportunity to tell them it's time to put that behind you. The reason you don't win back-to-back a lot of times is because you let this get to your head. We've got workouts. I thought it was really neat. He took that opportunity to go after his leaders to prepare for next year. So with that, that's my report.
Any questions for Superintendent Golden? I see none.
Thank you.
Next, we have a hospital report. CEO Phil Mazuka and CFO Terry Fowler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Good evening and Happy New Year. I'm pleased to report at the end of the year we've got some exciting news for Williamson Health. Just a few weeks ago, Williamson Medical Center was named to Forbes magazine inaugural list of top hospitals in America for 2026. We were one of only 2 hospitals in Tennessee and the only hospital in Middle Tennessee, and just one of 253 hospitals nationwide to receive the highest overall 5-star award. We're extremely honored to be included in this very first ranking of top hospitals put out by Forbes that focused on patient outcomes, patient satisfaction, best practices, and value. The recognition exemplifies Williamson Health's ongoing commitment to delivering high-quality health care with exceptional patient experiences. The honor belongs to the dedicated members of our team who work tirelessly to ensure our community has access to top-notch medical services in a familiar, comforting environment. We're also informed in December that we have once again been awarded several 2026 recognitions from the National Women's Choice Award Program for Best Hospitals. 8 awards we earned in 2026 are patient experience, outpatient experience, patient safety, heart care, obstetrics, knee and hip replacement, minimally invasive surgery, and women's services. As with the Forbes ranking, all of the awards and recognitions we receive are a direct reflection of our team's steadfast commitment to what we consider our privileged mission to care for this special community. From a provider standpoint, we continue to add providers to our growing Williamson Health Medical Group. Recently, we added a new primary care physician, Dr. Troy Miller, to our West Franklin Clinic location. For those of you who remember our longtime primary care physician, Dr. Kenneth Dodge, who retired this past summer, Dr. Miller has joined Dr. Dodge's former practice. And to strengthen our breast health team, we've added a new nurse practitioner, Peyton Lee, to our high-risk breast program to help provider care for patients at increased risk for developing breast cancer. The Williamson Health Turner-Dugas Breast Health Center continues to be a recognized leader in Middle Tennessee. Our brand-new CT scanner has been installed and is currently seeing patients. This is our first CT scanner with cardiac capabilities, which we'll begin using by the end of this month. We're extremely proud of this new piece of equipment. It is one more example of how we continually elevate our overall services and technologies to benefit our community. Construction for the new MRI with cardiac capabilities and installation is still scheduled for March. In closing, I'm proud to say that Thursday this week, Williamson Health celebrates 68 years of providing service to our community. Now with that, I'll turn it over to Terry to provide a report on the financials.
Good evening, everyone. Here's the financial results for November. November had softer volumes than budgeted, which resulted in a budget miss. Inpatient admissions were 12% below budget and 4% below prior year. Total surgeries were 9% below budget and 2% below prior year. Medical visits were up 5% versus prior year. Part of the reason for the declines year over year relates to November having fewer business days this year than the prior year. From an earnings standpoint, EBITDA was less than budget by 15% or $357,000. However, favorable year-to-date by $1.6 million or 14%. Net income was unfavorable to budget by $442,000. However, favorable year-to-date by $1.2 million or 126%. Although revenues were lower than budget, we continue to operate efficiently as operating expenses as a percentage of net revenue continue to be below budget and prior year, both for November and year-to-date. EBITDA margin percent was 6.5% for the month and 8.3% year-to-date. Operating cash increased $1.3 million, mainly due to timing of payroll, and days cash on hand, all sources, was 113 days, which is up 1 day from prior month. Debt coverage remained at 2.48, and then this concludes my report. Thank you. Let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Mizuko or Mr. Fowler? First up, I have a question from Mr. Petty.
Yeah, I'm just curious. There's a lot of confusion about what exactly Williamson County owns with regard to the hospital. Could you clear that up for us a little bit?
I'm not trying to avoid the question because that's something that the attorneys will be able to give you precise answers. I can tell you from my perspective what I'm aware of. So when we took out the original bonds for the hospital where it currently exists, one of the covenants of the bonds was that once those bonds were paid off, we had to donate the land and building to a governmental entity. And so when we paid off those bonds, we actually donated the land, the original land, and the original facility to the county itself. So the original land and the original facility are county-owned property, but the hospital operations are still not owned by the county. That's under the Private Act Hospital District. There's about, I think it's about 17 acres of property, bone and joint, toll gate, and another piece of property down the street that is owned by the hospital district and not the county. And so that's, from my understanding, the non-technical explanation of ownership at this point.
Yeah, so the contents of the hospital are not owned by the county. It's just the building and the land.
That's the original land.
Yeah.
And the building and upgrades to that building is is what I understand.
Okay.
But again, that's something that the attorneys would be able to answer from
Yeah.
a technical
Okay,
standpoint.
thank you.
Commissioner Tunnicliffe.
Phil, are we, over here, thanks. Our Heart Health Month is coming up. Is the hospital participating again in that wonderful
Yes, we are. We're going to do
program?
the calcium scoring program next month of February.
I will encourage all residents and all county commissioners to partake on this. I did this last year, and a health issue was discovered with myself, and thanks to the health professionals at Williamson Health, everything looks good. But I encourage every one of us to go, and all the residents to go and get that checked out.
Thank you. I can tell you that, I'm not going to violate any HIPAA, but there were several people that felt like they were in perfect health that had the test done that found some pretty significant issues that had to be dealt with. So I'm really happy that we were able to help those people. I hope everybody gets a 0 on their score, but that doesn't always happen.
Mr. Mazuka, if you would maybe elaborate on how that works and how someone can sign up to have the test done.
Yeah, you'll be able to sign up for the test in February, and it's basically a CAT scan that gets done. And I think based on going through it, the CAT scan takes about a minute. And so it's very quick, very easy. I don't think that you need a physician order. And I think we did over 1,000 last year, 1,000 procedures. Last year it was $50 for the total scan. This year it's $65.
Well worth it.
It truly is. I mean, you don't change, you don't do anything. You just go in. You're in and out the door within 15 minutes normally.
Any other questions for Mr. Mazuka or Mr. Fowler? I see none.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a health report this evening. I'll call upon Ms. Kathy Montgomery.
Good evening, Commissioners. Over the holidays, you may have heard or seen articles that were in the news about an outbreak of histoplasmosis cases that were in our Thompson Station and Spring Hill area. Representatives at our local health department have actually been assisting the Tennessee Department of Health in investigations and so forth. And last week, we actually met with both city and county mayors to give them an update on what's going on in those areas. And so I've invited Dr. Mary Margaret Phil and Dr. Emma Taylor Salmon, who are both state epidemiologists with TDH, to provide that update for you as well. So I'm going to turn this over to them.
Well, Mayor Anderson, Mr. Chairman, and Commissioners, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to come and address the board this evening. As Kathy said, my name is Dr. Mary Margaret Phil, and I serve as the state epidemiologist with the Tennessee Department of Health, and I'm accompanied by my colleague, Dr. Emma Taylor Salmon. And we want to provide you an update on this ongoing investigation that we've been conducting into this cluster of cases of histoplasmosis in the Williamson and Murray County areas. So I'm first going to turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Taylor Salmon, who's going to get a little bit of background on histoplasmosis.
Thank you. All right. So histoplasmosis is a fungal infection that is caused by the fungus Histoplasma capsulatum. It often presents as pneumonia, and it is endemic in the central and eastern United States. Around 60 to 90% of people who live in this area are exposed at some point in their lifetime. It lives in the soil, especially in soil that is heavily contaminated with bat or bird droppings. And some activities that can increase your risk are going into caves, cleaning chicken coops, construction, landscaping. When it's in the soil, it grows as a mold, and that produces spores that get into the air. People become sick by breathing in these spores, and once they get into the lungs, they're able to develop and invade the body. And it can spread just into the lungs and can also spread throughout your whole body. Most people even have self-limited disease, though. The severity of illness in people who are infected really depends on the person's underlying immune system and on the intensity of their exposure, how much of the spores that they inhale. Only about 1% of people who are exposed to the spores will develop symptoms, and usually presents after about 3 to 17 days with symptoms that can a lot of times mimic a common cold or the flu. You can have fever, chills, cough, you can have a headache, you might have some body aches, but these symptoms frequently resolve without treatment, and most people don't even know that they had histoplasmosis. However, in people who have suppressed immune systems, as well as in babies or in adults that are over 55, you have an increased risk of developing severe or disseminated disease.
So in November of this past year, we actually heard from several distinct clinicians in Middle Tennessee who were seeing an unusually high number of patients in their hospitals with histoplasmosis. So we looked at the data that was available to us, and we were able to confirm that we were seeing a higher than expected number of cases of disease in this area of the state. We were prompted then to notify clinicians in Middle Tennessee of this increase, and we released a Tennessee Health Alert Network message in early December. This was to provide awareness to physicians in Middle Tennessee about the increase, to provide education about the diagnosis and treatment of histoplasmosis, and to ask them to notify us if they were taking care of patients that they felt could have histoplasma infection. And since then, we've worked very closely with the Williamson County and Murray County Health Departments to conduct outreach and interviews of patients that were reported to us by their physician who were suspected of having histoplasmosis. And so our goal is to try to talk with patients and understand what risk factors they may have and understand what exposures they may have had to histoplasma in about the 3 weeks before their symptoms began. So where are we today? Well, as of January 9th, we've identified 35 cases of histoplasmosis in the Murray and Williamson County areas, which I'll show you on a map on the next slide. This graph shows the distribution of cases over time by the date that they first became ill. And you can see, we do see a skewing sort of to the late September, early October timeframe when we see the most cases. But we do still see cases developing through, mid to late November as well. When we look at the geographic distribution, we do see this very tight clustering right along the border of Williamson and Murray counties and the Thompson Station and Spring Hill areas. I'll pause for a second. I will just note that for the vast majority of patients, this dot represents their home address, but there are a couple of patients that we interviewed who perhaps live outside of that area but work there, or who have some other activity that brings them into this area more frequently, which is why they were included in our investigation. So while our investigation has not yet identified a single clear source of exposure that's causing this increase in illnesses, this is not uncommon for histoplasmosis. As Dr. Taylor Salmon said, it's an endemic fungus that lives in the soil, and we see across the entire state of Tennessee. We do occasionally and historically have seen clusters that may be linked to a specific occupational or community exposure, and we are continuing to explore any potential risk factors in the community. Because histo is commonly found throughout the soil, it can be challenging to completely prevent exposure. But as Dr. Taylor Salmon said, we know that those individuals at highest risk are people that either inhale the greatest amount of spores or who have weakened immune systems, like she mentioned. We do have some general recommendations, which she's already alluded to, which is really to try to limit exposure to activities that disturb the soil or increased exposure to plant matter or bird or bat droppings. So I've listed on the bullets there some examples of what those activities may be. And then if an individual feels that they are especially high risk or want to mitigate their risk even further, they could consider wearing a protective mask when conducting higher risk activities. All that to say, our investigation is ongoing, and we're continuing to look for modifiable risk factors in the community. And if new specific actions are recommended, we're happy to come back to the board to provide an update. But we will stop there and are happy to take any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Commissioner Hayes?
Yes, hi. It was my understanding that the majority of the people that came down ill have been teenage age range. Is that true?
Yeah, not the majority. There are certainly a handful of cases that are younger individuals. Do you recall what the mean age is?
So the median age is 50.
Okay.
And there understandably have been some cases in the news and families that have spoken up quite understandably where there were some younger patients, but that's not the majority of what we're seeing.
Okay, and I also heard the area that was of concern was like the June Lake area where there had been a lot of construction and change in the soil, and
right.
I didn't know because when I heard teenagers, I think maybe they're playing ball out, and you come up with ideas of like, oh my gosh, how do they prevent that? So
Sure.
I'm glad to hear you all are on top of it. It is a huge concern.
Understandably.
And I
and-
appreciate you giving us an update.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am. Yeah, and the June Lake area has come up in our interviews, but it is a huge development. There is construction everywhere in Middle Tennessee, and so it's hard to pinpoint that this one particular construction development is quote unquote the cause. But we are having ongoing conversations with Spring Hill leadership as well as with the leadership of the development, who have been very responsive to make sure that there's not something that we're missing. Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
Okay. Commissioner Hester.
Commissioner Hester?
Histoplasmosis treated since it's a fungal infection?
There are antifungal medications that we can use to treat it. Most patients actually don't need treatment, and so they can be closely monitored by their clinician to determine if treatment is necessary. Those drugs have risks and benefits. If you're sick enough to need them, they're great to be given, but we don't want to give them unnecessarily if your body will fight the infection on its own. But there are different antifungal medications that can be administered either orally or through an IV, depending on how sick the patient is.
Does it ordinarily include hospitalization?
In the majority of patients, it does not. We have certainly seen that some of these patients in this investigation have been hospitalized and some have been critically ill and hospitalized for a very long time, but that's not the case in every single patient.
Well, which of these practices require more caution? I think there are more people who are raising chickens in and about this area, and you have chickens, you're gonna need to clean up.
That is true. That is true.
Besides
And we
getting
do
eggs
we do ask about that in our interviews, and we have not seen that every patient has chickens. If we did, that would be an easy thing to provide education about. But you're right. There are a lot of very common activities on that list, and so that's why we're really just trying to raise awareness and make sure that people understand that histoplasma is present in the soil. I think for many residents, this is probably the first time that they've ever heard of this. It's a long name. It sounds very scary, and we want to provide information and then also reassure to the degree that we can that this is nothing new to Tennessee, and we see this in patients across the state every year, but we are trying to take a closer look in this instance to make sure that there's not something else people can do to protect themselves.
And one more quick, we live in an area where there are bird flyovers because of the Tennessee River and our lakes and streams and the Cumberland River, and that contributes to histoplasmosis, from my understanding. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am. The pH of the soil that is most supportive for the growth and flourishing of histoplasma is that often has bird or bat droppings mixed in. We actually have gone so far as to, we've engaged with the National Weather Service, we've engaged with some local community birders to understand bird migration patterns to see if there's been something atypical happening this year, and so far we haven't seen anything out of the ordinary, but we are trying to turn over all of those stones.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Hester. Any other questions? Commissioner Richards?
Quick question for you. Thank you for the update
Is it typical that it's clustered together like that, or is that unusual?
No, this is somewhat atypical, and again, that's what prompted the investigation. We see histo is actually not a disease that we investigate every case of routinely because it is found across the state and because most people don't have serious or severe illness. But because we've seen this tight clustering, that's what's prompted us to try to dig further and see if there's some, again, community or occupational or what's the word I'm looking for? I was trying to think of recreational exposure that people have that was a commonality, and so far we have not found that, but we're continuing to interview cases and make sure that there's not a common theme there that we've identified.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Lawrence.
Yes, thank you so much for the update. So 35 cases, how does that compare to other counties? Is that a high number compared to Davidson County, where you got a lot bigger population, or?
Yeah, because we don't routinely track cases of histo, meaning that if I'm a doctor in Nashville and I take care of a patient with histo at any other time, I normally don't report that to the Department of Health. So we don't typically count every single case of histoplasmosis in Tennessee. We were able to look at things like historical hospital discharge data and emergency department data to see how these trends from this year compared to prior years. And again, we do feel like that 35 number is higher than we would expect for this part of the state. It's higher than what we've seen in prior years, but it's not an exact comparison because we're sort of comparing apples to oranges because we don't routinely ask that clinicians notify us of every single case of histo that they see. So it's not, hopefully that's a satisfactory answer to your question, but I don't really have great historical data or great data from other counties to compare to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All great questions, and I want to thank Ms. Montgomery for bringing this to our attention. And am I right, just to put a note of urgency on this, you correct me if I'm wrong, out of these outbreaks, there has been one fatality, correct, or no?
We are continuing to look at medical records to understand. There have been patients that we were notified of that have passed away, but we're trying to determine the cause of that and whether or not it is directly related to their infection with histoplasma or not.
Okay. Well, thank you, Doctor. Thank both of you, and thank you again, Ms. Montgomery. Any other departments wishing to report, or any other reports at this time?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Tunnicliffe.
I believe the Sheriff's Office has a quarterly update on their jail accreditation. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. I'm going to be introducing Mr. Jim Hart with CTAS, and he's going to make a presentation. And I will note that the agenda says that this is a quarterly update. That's actually only required at the Law Enforcement Committee level. Tonight, he is going to present you with a staffing analysis. Last month, I sent y'all an email that told you about the jail who has become a Tier 2 certified facility, and we're only one of 6 jails in the state of Tennessee to have attained that highest level through the TCI, Tennessee Correctional Institute. So we're very proud of that. I want to congratulate our staff. I want to thank our jail administrator, Carol Esteban, Captain Chad Euchre, and our compliance officer, Lieutenant Jasper Driscoll. And just to recap the message that I sent you last month, if we weren't certified through TCI, the standard amount of money that we receive from the state for every state inmate per day is $38. Being a Tier 2 certified agency, we receive an additional $12 per inmate per day. So that takes that total up to $50 a day for a state inmate. And with that, I am going to turn this over to Jim Hart. This requires no action on your part, but this is a mandate to attain and maintain that Tier 2 status. So he's going to give you this presentation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jim Hart. I'm the jail consultant with the County Technical Assistance Service, or CTAS. Part of the Tier 2 accreditation requires a formal staffing analysis and a review of the jail standards as it relates to their healthcare operations to be completed within 1 year of their accreditation. So this complies with that. The other part of that requirement is that it be presented to a public safety committee, a county corrections partnership, to the full commission, just to get it on record that this study was done and that you've been informed of it. Last month, I had the opportunity to present it to your law enforcement committee, and a copy of the full staffing analysis report was submitted to you via email. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because it's a very detailed report, lengthy report, but I just want to sort of hit the highlights in the process that we went through for your information. The methodology that I used was utilizing the National Institute of Corrections Staffing Analysis Workbook for jails, and it's a process that we went through to take a look at the comprehensive operation of a jail facility, looking at daily activities, looking at a coverage plan, meaning when do we have staff on duty, where do we have them on duty, what kind of functions and activities are they doing as part of that. The other thing we looked at is we evaluated the shift scheduling to look at a comparison of 8 hours, 10 hours, or 12-hour shifts to see what seemed to work and support the agency's mission. And then we looked at a relief factor or the net annual work hours. The main challenges that we identified were just we have the opportunity to hire staff, and then we're training those staff, and then we're losing those staff, meaning that they're moving on to other functions within the sheriff's office or they're moving on to other agencies. Not uncommon of what I'm seeing in other locations around the state. Some of the things that we look at just to paint a picture, if you will, of the jail is all the functions that are going on. When we start thinking about bookings and releases and doing rounds, looking at safety and security around the facility, the different types of inspections that are conducted, we just paint a detailed picture of what's occurring both inside the facility, but also what's occurring outside the facility that requires staff efforts, such as transporting inmates to hospitals, to local clinics, to Department of Corrections, those type of things that require some form of work effort. We looked again at daily activities. Sometimes we can find some inefficiencies by better scheduling of functions and activities versus letting the activities control the staff efforts, and where we start operating in this crisis management mode, if you will. The staff coverage plan, again, looks at having the right type of staff in the right place at the right time, doing the right things that are consistent with the agency's policies and procedures, their post orders, the training, the best correctional practices, and then the state jail standards. I'm not going to bore you with these next 3 slides, but this basically just enabled us to identify the posts and the positions from the jail administrator to every correctional deputy in the facility, apply the number of hours of coverage that is needed both weekly, daily, and annually, and then applied a relief factor to that, meaning we give employees time off through vacations, military time, FMLA, bereavement, and then we divide that calculation into the coverage to give us how many staff that we actually need to cover those posts and those positions throughout the year. When we looked at the net annual work hours, one of the things that we frequently will see is that a jail has adequate staff coverage, meaning all the posts and positions are identified and we have adequate staff to support those. But we start finding some challenges sometimes as it relates to the relief factor, meaning we haven't calculated enough of all the time off that employees actually take. So when we go through this process and we look at the relief factor or the net annual work hours as it's referred to here, we look at 3 years worth of data of every employee that worked, whether they worked 1 day in the sheriff's office or working during the 3 years, and to give us that average based on that job classification. We only look at those relieved positions, meaning if an employee doesn't show up to work central control on that day, we have to have somebody to cover that post. It's one of those functions that's relieved. On the other side, if the jail administrator is off doing some training for a couple days, we don't have another jail administrator. Somebody else assumes some of those functions and roles. So for the purpose of this agency, the food service staff, the correctional deputies, and then the booking specialists were those that we identified as needing to be relieved positions. The only thing to point out here as it relates to the net annual work hours or relief factor is I think that we could do a little bit better job, and we've had this discussion with the agency as it relates to capturing the training hours away from work. So when employees are out doing different types of training to better themselves or add to their toolkit, we can do a little bit better job of capturing that time off to ensure we get a really good, accurate picture of that relief factor. We looked at the coverage plan after we put this together to look at it as it relates to various functions and activities, emergency response, both the minimum standards for local correction facilities and the accreditation standards, just to ensure that we can do the job, that the plan or that the existing staff is able to function in an adequate manner, and that the plan or any kind of adjustments that may be made also support compliance with these various reviews that we conducted. One of the things that we identified is that the agency was on 12-hour shifts. They shifted to 10-hour shifts last summer, and there were some staff shortages. They went to 8-hour shifts, and they're now in the process of getting ready to go back to 10-hour shifts. But I evaluate shift schedules by these 5 components that you see here. Looking at sufficiency, do we have enough staff on duty based on what the plan calls for? And what I found is there were some shortages from time to time. Is it efficient? An inefficient schedule will have additional staff on duty that may not have been scheduled. And then is it consistent? Again, with the flotation of the numbers of staff available and deployed and other functions going on sometimes created that inconsistency. Staff found it a very attractive schedule, particularly shifting from the 12s to the 10s. And then our just experience that we're seeing is that the 12-hour shift schedules are having sometimes are problematic or challenging for staff to get that time off or that rest time from shift to shift. And so staff are finding that those 10-hour shifts or those 8-hour shifts are enabling them to get that adequate downtime. I looked at the healthcare operations as it relates to the Tennessee Corrections Institute standards and the standards for the accreditation, and what we found is that they're doing a great job. They're addressing the inmate needs. We looked at various inmate grievances and found them to be very minimal that were out there. So the healthcare provider is providing a great service. The only thing that we found is that they are trying to identify inmates right at the front door just to give that initial assessment to identify if there's any problems or challenges that need that immediate medical need. And because of that, it sort of backs up the booking process a little bit. But that was the only major downside. But it's a good side because they're trying to identify anyone who has any types of problems right at the front door. The healthcare coverage at this point we found to be pretty adequate, and this is what was proposed or is planned inside the existing contract. So in general, this presentation, the staffing study that you've received, complies with the standards of the Tennessee Corrections Institute for the agency they've achieved their Tier 2 accreditation, but to maintain it, because the requirement required us to have this done within 12 months of the actual accreditation. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Hart? I see none.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sheriff. Any other departments wishing to?
Chairman, I would like to ask Sheriff Hughes a question if I can.
Absolutely. Sheriff Hughes?
Sheriff, do you mind addressing the email that I forwarded to you on that intersection that we had some concerns on for accidents?
Split Log Road?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You asked me about an accident that occurred, I believe, over the weekend or over the last week at least.
3 or 4. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so what we did is we asked staff to pull all of the accidents that have happened in that area last year, the total for 2025, and we determined that there were 24 accidents that have occurred since January 1st of 2025. Jim Rule with Risk Management also received an email, and he took someone out today to look at the actual site, to lay eyes on it. And then I've responded to you and to Jim Rule and to Eddie Hood. And I hope that we can work collaboratively together to look at some solutions on maybe some signage or things to prevent future accidents. Obviously, we can take care of the enforcement, the traffic study, but I think there's probably some things that Eddie and his staff can look at to maybe a long-term corrective action for that particular road, given that large number of accidents in a short period of time.
Thank you, Sheriff. I know we all had received that email, and it was a concern, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other departments wishing to report at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to elections and appointments. First one up tonight is the Stormwater Appeals Board. This is a 3-year term expiring 1/29, term expiring. We'll do both of these together. Term expiring Liz McLaurin and Steve Westerman. Nominations are Liz McLaurin and Steve Westerman. I have a proper motion from Commissioner Guffey and seconded by Commissioner Drew Torres. Any discussions? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of those nominations, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Nominations are approved. Next, we have Adjustments and Appeals Board, filling an unexpired term, expiring 1/28. Deceased is Kenneth Schote. Nomination is Bo Childress. I have a proper motion made by Commissioner Guffey and seconded by Commissioner Ricky Jones. Any discussion? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of the nomination, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Motion passes. And our last one is the Beer Board, filling an unexpired term, expiring 11/28. Term expired is Tom Wilson. Nomination is Matthew Baldry. I have a proper motion made by Commissioner Guffey, seconded by Commissioner Cardin. Any discussions? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of the nomination, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
22 yes, 2 abstain.
Nomination is approved. Next, we have our consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion. Proper motion made by Commissioner Hayes, seconded by Commissioner Torres. Any discussions? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of accepting the consent agenda, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Motion passes. We have no unfinished business. Under new business, we do have 2 zoning hearings tonight. I will read the description of each and then invite anyone from the public who wishes to speak on either one of these to come to the podium and do so. Afterwards, we will vote on them as a whole as the commission. The first public hearing has to do with Resolution 1265, a resolution to amend Article 3 of the zoning ordinance regarding mailed notices when public notice is required for a zoning map amendment. Anyone wishing to speak from the public, please come to the podium and do so now. Going once, going twice. Hearing is now closed. We will now vote on the Resolution 1265. Again, a resolution to amend Article 3 of the zoning ordinance regarding mailed notices when public notice is required of a zoning map amendment. I have a proper motion made by Commissioner Mary Smith, seconded by Commissioner Greg Sanford. Regional Planning Commission was 7-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Clifford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This has to do with notice for zoning map amendments. Currently, we give notice to adjacent property owners for any area of a zoning map amendment. This essentially changes it from adjacent properties to any property owner within 500 feet of that boundary line. The concern being that the current adjacent property requirement might not be sufficient to give other property owners in the surrounding area enough notice that they may be impacted by a rezoning. And I would ask if there are any questions, council can come up and probably answer them much better than me.
And I do have a question, it looks like from Commissioner Tunnicliffe.
Yeah, it's not just the area in which we send those notices. Can someone explain to me why we dropped the sign notice needed for this 15 days prior?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Tunnicliffe, that's actually a typo. We don't send mailed notices on text amendments because a text amendment applies county-wide in the entire unincorporated area. So the mailed notices do go for a map amendment, as a rezone, but a text amendment, if we sent mailed notice, that'd be to everybody in the county. So that actually shouldn't have been in the table for a text amendment.
So the sign notice is,
And the sign notice, that there's no property on which to place a sign for a text amendment since it's countywide. So
Okay.
that shouldn't have been in there to begin with. So
Thank you.
Thought we were opening it up. Let's clean that too.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of Resolution 126.5, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Our next zoning hearing has to do with Resolution 126.6, a resolution to amend Article 3 of the zoning ordinance regarding utility availability for new development. We'll open the floor to any public comments at this time. Going once, going twice. Zoning hearing is closed. So now to the commissioners, again, Resolution 126.6, a resolution to amend Article 3 of the zoning ordinance regarding utility availability for new development. I have a proper motion from Commissioner Barb Sturgeon, seconded by Commissioner Betsy Hester. Regional Planning Commission was 7-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Torres.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As many of y'all know, last summer there was a significant sewer leak in the Grassland area at a dilapidated plant, and that really uncovered the lack of communication from TDEC and our Regional Planning Commission. And so this resolution is an effort to increase that communication in terms of private utility companies and their standing with TDEC. And I would ask Christy, since she wrote this, to come and maybe add some color.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Torres. So when developments come into the Planning Commission process, whether it's a concept plan or a non-residential site plan or whatever, they have to provide notice or a letter of service availability from the water provider and the sewer provider. And we just had, as you can see from the amendment, just kind of a basic, give us a letter that it's available. Because we have multiple types of wastewater provision, whether it's septic, individual septic, or a municipal sewer, or in the case of the one that Commissioner Torres was referencing, a private utility providing public wastewater, which sometimes is a discharge, like the one in Grassland, and sometimes it's, more often in the county, it's the step systems, the land application. There really wasn't an opportunity to find out if that particular plant that is proposed to accept this new development is in good shape and it's functioning well without any active violations. And so after what was going on in Grassland, Commissioner Sturgeon and Commissioner Torres reached out to me and said, can we get a little more detail? Because the Planning Commission is just not getting that information. So if a new subdivision's coming in and proposed for a plant, the Planning Commission and the staff really didn't have any way to know what the status of that plant was. And so, again, while we were opening this, I took the opportunity to just ask for a little more detail, not only for the sewer availability, but also the water. You know, what type of improvements are going to be needed and how long is that going to take? And we sent this out to all the utilities that would be potentially affected. One of them reached out to me with some questions and suggestions on how to word a couple of things, so we were happy to work with them on that. But this just gives the Planning Commission more detail to make a more educated decision on a development when it comes in, what utilities are actually available to serve that development.
Question or comment from Commissioner Sanford?
Christy, so the utility companies will be providing additional details. Is that accurate?
Generally, it will be something between the utility provider and the developer, presumably. A lot of times the water providers, they already have this information, especially later in the process. And that was the one thing that we tweaked, the water provider that reached out to me. We were asking for too much at the concept plan stage, and so that's why it's broken down into different phases. So I think essentially the letter would come from like for instance, the water utility provider, because their engineering firm is going to look at what's being proposed and see how it meets in their long-term provision of utilities. It just gives the Planning Commission hopefully a better idea of what has to happen before they can even turn on the spigot, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of Resolution 126-7, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Okay. Commissioner Guffey stepped away. Commissioner Sanford and Commissioner Mary Smith. And then I believe Commissioner Guffey has stepped away momentarily. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
23 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passes. Next resolution, Resolution 126-8, resolution appropriating and amending the 25-26 Parks and Recreation Department budget by $170,000, revenues to come from participant fees. Proper motion made by Commissioner Drew Torres, seconded by Commissioner Steve Smith. Parks and Rec was 5-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Mr. Chair, if I may have a moment, do we want to do 126-7 first or start with 126-8?
As I was reading that, I wondered if I had skipped one, and you're right. So if it pleases the commission, we will...
We've got 126-7 loaded, so...
Yeah, we've got 126-7, so I'm going to backtrack, and I don't know if we need to clear the motions in a second to offer new ones, but I'm going to read the proper title this time. Resolution 126-7, resolution appropriating and amending the 25-26 Parks and Recreation budget by $64,402.50, revenues to come from donations. Proper motion made by Commissioner Drew Torres, seconded by Commissioner Steve Smith. Parks and Rec was 5-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Now, explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes, this is just accepting funds from youth sports organizations to pay for officials and upgrade facilities.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Now, Resolution 126-8, resolution appropriating and amending the 25-26 Parks and Rec Department budget by $170,000, revenues to come from participant fees. Proper motion made by Commissioner Drew Torres and seconded by Commissioner Lisa Hayes. Parks and Rec Committee was 5-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes, just accepting fees from participants at the Performing Arts Center.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 126-9, resolution appropriating and amending the 25-26 Animal Center budget by $19,500, revenues to come from donations. Proper motion made by Commissioner Judy Herbert, seconded by Commissioner Tom Tunnicliffe. The Public Health Committee was 5-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Just when you think Judy Hayes can't do any more for this community, she comes up with a tremendously generous donation. This is accepting that donation from Judy Hayes.
And we do want to thank former Commissioner Judy Hayes for everything she does for this county, including this wonderful donation to our animal center. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 12612, resolution appropriating and amending the 25-26 Animal Center budget by $10,000, revenues to come from unappropriated county general funds. Proper motion made by Commissioner Greg Lawrence and seconded by Commissioner Lisa Hayes. Budget Committee was 4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Webb.
Which, are we on 12611 or 12?
Am I skipping them again? 11 is under other, right? Yeah, so we're on 12.
Okay. What we've got here is simply a water leak occurred during the irrigation line, and it was out of warranty, and so they're asking for an amendment to the budget.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whidbey.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. And to Commissioner Webb's point, I noticed my packet was a little disheveled when I received it. Some of these, and this may have been the case for you, Commissioner Webb, that they're not in order necessarily. You might check your agenda page to make sure you're following along in order. Some of these are under other versus appropriations. So I think they were put in the pack numerically when they should have been placed under their appropriate categories. So I think there's 3 or 4 resolutions that are that way, if you want to double check your stack. Which brings me to, now I've lost my place. Are we on 14 now?
Yes, sir.
Resolution 12614, resolution appropriating and amending the 25-26 Williamson County Office of Public Safety budget by $4,966.87 for overtime, supplies, and maintenance of vehicles. Revenues to come from the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency, reimbursements for emergency management assistance to North Carolina. Proper motion made by Commissioner Tom Tunnicliffe and seconded by Commissioner Greg Sanford. Law enforcement did not wish to review this one. Budget Committee was 4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Tunnicliffe.
Thank you, Chairman. I will also state that this is not one that we chose not to review. That was a different one, and that's a mistake. I would like to, sorry, we reviewed this one, if I remember correctly, didn't we, Commissioner Sanford? Pretty self-explanatory based on the title. TEMA wants to give us a little bit of money to help compensate our expenses in North Carolina with their flood.
And we're very thankful to them for their assistance, and I apologize for that error. Do you, for the record, know what was the vote 5-4-0 against?
I believe it was 4-0.
4-0. Okay. 4 in favor, 0 against from the Law Enforcement Public Safety Committee. 4-0 against for Budget Committee. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whidbey.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. We're now on Resolution 12615, resolution for intercategory transfer of $1,037.94 between major categories to provide for administrative costs related to the use of American Rescue Plan Act funds. Proper motion made by Commissioner Tom Tunnicliffe and seconded by Commissioner Steve Smith. Budget Committee was 3-4-0 against with 1 abstention. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes, this is just an intercategory transfer. It doesn't change the total amount. They just need to shift it from salary to benefits.
Question or comment from Commissioner Webb?
Mr. Chair, because this does affect the ARPA program, which I am part of, I'll abstain.
Understood. Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please. Mr. Whidbey.
23 yes, 1 abstain.
Resolution passes. Resolution 12616, resolution appropriating and amending the 25-26 budget by $64,600, revenues to come from opioid abatement funds. Proper motion made by Commissioner Guy Carden and seconded by Commissioner Tom Tunnicliffe. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Webb.
Mr. Chair, this corrects a problem that we've got in order to get this money into the fund. This amends the budget by the $64,600 relating to the opioid abatement funds.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 12617, resolution approving an amendment to the county attorney budget for payment of counsel in potential hospital transaction. Proper motion made by Commissioner Tom Tunnicliffe, seconded by Commissioner Steve Smith. The Budget Committee was 4-0 against. Property Committee, I do have would not hear. Hopefully I'm saying that right and not making a mistake again. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a resolution to amend our budget to provide for legal counsel for this commission, for the county, independent of the hospitals. I believe the reason property didn't hear it was at the time we didn't really have an understanding of kind of where it came from. Mr. Jesse Neal is here today. He can provide some further explanation and also possibly some updates on what he's been doing for the last 2 months. In rough terms, it was, sort of a high side, low side estimation of fees and expenses through the fiscal year. We've estimated on the high side of the estimates there. We obviously don't have to and hope that we won't spend all of this money. Do fully intend to be reimbursed from either the hospital or, if there ends up being a sale that this commission approves, the acquiring party to reimburse those fees back to the county.
Any questions or comments? Do you wish to speak on this, Mr. Neal, or Commissioner Lawrence?
Yeah, that's what.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioners, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since we last spoke, I appreciate the opportunity to report back. We've done a lot of productive work engaging directly with the hospital and the hospital's counsel on a couple different points based on the direction that you were able to give me and that the Property Committee was also able to give me. There was a question about whether the hospital would be willing to share criteria used to evaluate potential partners for Williamson Health. And based on that request, they responded in the affirmative and shared that with us, which we then shared with the Property Committee. They also asked at our request if the Commission would be willing to provide and evaluate and offer up additional criteria that they thought would be appropriate and consistent with the goals of the Commission and the county in evaluating these potential partners. So that I thought was a very productive opportunity to engage with the process. The premise of these discussions are the same premise that we discussed at our last meeting, which was, it should go without saying, and if it doesn't, it is that the County Commission is involved in the evaluation process, and they ultimately will decide whether a transaction is pursued or not. And so over a course of several meetings with the hospital's council, we've made a number of different requests and directions to them. To their credit, they've responded and been engaged and open to the direction that we have asked for them. They've also asked if there are significant additional issues that they would like the Commission would like to make aware to potential partners, that they could include in communications to those potential partners. Examples of these include it's very common for county governments and the hospital to have an arrangement with regard to prisoner health care. That's often an informal arrangement, but one that still has to be managed and addressed through the transaction documents. That's an example. Another would be the EMS service. If there are specific expectations of the Commission with regard to EMS service and a potential partner's use and investment in that service, that's something that I can take back with me and advocate to the process to make sure that that's included. Your priorities are my priorities, and those are ones that we can relay back to the hospital, and we have standing and an opportunity to engage with them. Last but not least, I think one of the biggest areas where the Commission has absolute, in my mind, unfettered standing to lead the community through the process is through what we call community covenants. When a county hospital decides to engage with a partner to invest capital or whatever the strategy and approach ultimately will be, there are commitments and they're a reflection of the community and the county and what their priorities are, access to care, the name on the building, if there was a children's hospital. Those are a couple of different examples: participation in Medicare, Medicaid, and importantly, maintenance of charity care policies and protocols. Those are typical features that you would see in a transaction document, and those, I believe, and I think they agree, should be driven by the county and the county commission. I believe an email went out on December 11th after sharing the property committee presentation that I'd prepared with a request for, if you were willing and able, to share with me any questions or recommendations or directions or priorities with regard to those community covenants. And so if you are interested in talking directly or sharing any of those with me, you can email them to me, and they can be reviewed at the January 28 Property Committee meeting, which is, I believe, is when it is scheduled. So I'm glad to answer any kind of additional questions about the work we're doing. We've got a diligence process protocol that's been developed. We've got requests out to the hospital, and they have been responding to those requests on a rolling basis with information that's needed for us to evaluate and advise you on the steps forward in terms of a transaction, including ownership of property down to every deed and every acre. And so that process is ongoing, as it should be. And I don't think it's too late or too early for that process. I think that through our engagement and the information that you're sharing with me, and my hope is that the information that you'll continue to share with me to guide me and direct me, I will be advocating for those priorities through the process and able to report back on questions and updates as they arise. So I appreciate the opportunity to give you an update, and I really am honored, my firm's honored, to be able to represent the County Commission on this matter. So I thank you again.
Any questions for Mr. Neal? Commissioner Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Jesse. Just a question, sort of a follow-up on Commissioner Tunnicliffe's question. So the property that's owned by the hospital district, what is your opinion on that property as in regards to the proceeds from the sale of those assets? Or would they not be considered county assets as well, since the county set up the district and sort of is basically the district operates under the oversight of the commission? Or is your opinion that that's a separate entity and those assets would be treated differently?
So, and that question was, I believe, brought up on the property committee. I don't believe it can be analyzed further, for sure. I don't believe there would be a distinguish under current law between that property and the property that's owned by the hospital entity. But we can certainly, there's certainly room to have different perspectives on that, and we can certainly take a position that we've developed and can research.
Okay, so in other words, you would look at it all holistically as one piece of property as a whole, that the proceeds of which should go, depending on what happens with state law, of course, if we can get a change in the state law, if the state law is changed, if that were to come back to the county commission, the proceeds from those assets would be included, correct?
So I'll put it this way. So as a former assistant attorney general that reviewed these transactions, what I think is the custom historically is that there would not be a treatment distinguished between the two sources. Now, with regard to this transaction, as your lawyer, I would like to review and make a determination about whether we could take a different position if that was consistent with state law. Certainly, if there's an update to state law that impacts how that is accounted for and distributed, I would help develop that position and that approach and advocate for that on your behalf.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Hayes.
Hi there. You mentioned a second ago that you've given an update to the property committee. I haven't seen anything go out to the whole commission. So are you just giving updates to the property committee?
I can clarify from my perspective. I was forwarded an email on December 15th of an email that was sent out to the full commissioners, it appears, at least from the two, with attached to that, a copy of the presentation. So my understanding is that it has been distributed.
I received the presentation, but it was my understanding from that committee meeting that all commissioners would be copied on any updates, and if there were any questions sent to you, that those would also be sent out to all commissioners, therefore lessening 4 or 5 of us asking you the same thing. So we're all informed all at the same time. So I just want to make sure I'm understanding, are you just sending these property committee, or are you sending them to the whole commission?
I've not sent any communications to the property committee. I appeared on the agenda and gave a presentation.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding something you said. So do we have any expected communications that we're going to get to you, from you on a regular basis?
I am glad and willing, and I think we're approaching the time where it's appropriate for me to start providing updates and potential decision points and schedules in conjunction with my discussions with the hospital. But of course, I defer to you and your direction on that front.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Petty.
Hi, Jesse. Appreciate working with you. Getting to know you. I like you. You're a nice man. I appreciate that. My question is the money thing here. We got $900,000, and it's $150,000 a month. And I did some math on it, and I divided $150,000 by 20, which we've got 20 working days to a month. And that came up to $7,500 a day, and you divide that by 9, and that comes in about 8 hours. So I guess I'm wondering, I'm not questioning the work you're doing. I think you're doing a good job. Please don't misunderstand me. But I just don't understand the cost here. I can't imagine somebody's working 8 hours a day at $900 an hour every day of the week for 6 months to do this. And I'm just a little bit confused at how this billing is going. So,
sure, I'm glad to weigh in generally on that. It would not just be me in my office working 8 hours a day on Williamson County. What I do is leverage paralegals, associates, junior partners, mid-level partners, senior partners in various specialties to maximize the value and minimize the cost. And so historically, and I don't know what the rates are that the hospital pays for its counsel. I've represented county governments, and I've represented hospital governments, hospital systems on transactions similar to this. And the rate is based on a number of workflows that I'm glad to walk through right now if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you have billing records that would be available for us to see how we're being billed, because I just want to understand. I'm not trying to create a problem here. I just don't understand.
Sure, and I understand that. This is the public's money, and we keep track of our time on this matter in 6-minute increments. Every single 6-minute increment is accounted for with the person who performed the work and a description of the work they did, and I would welcome a chance to review that with you.
Yeah, okay.
Commissioner Sanford.
Counselor, I don't have a problem with your money. You're an expert in what you do, and your staff is an expert in this line of work. I don't know how many experts we have on this commission of hospital salespeople. So my only comment is, I speak for District 5 alone, but I would hope that you would use your expertise to represent this commission, obviously, and think of the things that we can't think of, right? I've never done this before. I'm not too sure my co-commissioners have either. And I would just ask and lean on you and your expertise, because you are an expert in this field, and think of things, problems, and concerns that we wouldn't think of, and obviously just ask those questions, or just be our eyes and ears, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner. I would be glad to serve in that function. I think it's important, and with this kind of delegation and direction, we can develop a protocol where I can set some opportunities for y'all to weigh in and discuss, and I can give my recommendations and experience on those front. And ultimately, I'm supporting you and educating you and helping you guide the community through that. And so that, to me, is the heart of what I'm here to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sturgeon.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I like you too, Jesse, and I like the way you communicate, but I have a problem with $900 an hour. And We approved this back in November on a temporary basis. And Mr. Mosley informed me at the budget meeting, if we approve this, then we're basically approving you as well. And I've asked around to some lawyers, and I can't find anyone who thinks $900 an hour is reasonable for a specialist. And I don't know. I'm just a county commissioner. I don't hire lawyers very often. But if I were to hire a lawyer, I would want some, like, comparables. Like, this is what people charge. This is documentation on what you can expect. And we were just told $900 an hour and not given any backup information on why that's reasonable. So at this point, I just don't feel comfortable voting yes on this resolution.
Commissioner Mary Smith.
Yeah. Hi, thank you, Jesse. So real quick, I think Commissioner Morton, did I hear you say that the hospital was going to reimburse the attorney's fees?
It certainly is my intent to request that. And I believe that Mr. Neal believes that we have the right to do so under the existing agreements that we have with the hospital, whether or not the sale closes. If the sale does close, then I think everybody expects, and it would be part of the transaction, that we would be reimbursed by a purchaser. I think, however, also that if the sale did not go through, my understanding is that we have the right, we certainly would intend to, I would intend to seek those fees back from the hospital. They've brought this to us. We didn't start this process ourselves, so my expectation is that we would be reimbursed if it were not successful and reimbursed if it were.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So you've been with us for over a month now. Do you know what the total is that you've billed to the county up to date?
I believe it's 86,000 in that range. The amount of time that was included in the invoice includes time both that was spent and was billed to the county, and also the time that was spent on the county's work that we decided not to bill. So they are accounted for, and that's the approximate range, give or take a few dollars.
Okay, and that is approximately 2 months, give or take?
That was for work that was completed in November and was billed in December.
Okay, so that was pretty much 1 month for,
Right.
yeah, give or take a few days
Yes, ma'am.
in there.
Yep.
Would it be possible to have you, send that invoice just so everyone kind of has an idea of everyone in your office that's involved and kind of what makes up that $900 an hour? And I guess just a summary of the work, because I mean, I've been in the property committee and you've answered questions and we've got an idea of the way you've represented us and the questions that you've asked of the hospital board during this first month. Would it be possible to kind of get that invoice and just kind of a synopsis of here's the work that we've done over this
Absolutely.
last month? Okay.
Absolutely, it's a public document, and I can also apply some narrative. I've got some information too about where I see the workflow up to today, then over in the short term, and then into the new year, how I think that work will be allocated and the budget associated with it. Some of it will require different rate ranges on certain specialists, and so I'm glad to dive into the detail for that.
Okay, great. Given that, I'd like to, obviously we need to keep attorney representation in this transaction. Would it be possible to amend this proposed budget for another month? And then that way everyone on the commission has an opportunity to see what the invoices look like, and if there's any questions from that invoice, to amend this from 900,000 to 100,000?
Is that your amendment?
I'm going to make a motion. Yeah, I'll make a motion to amend it from 900,000 to 100,000.
I have a motion on the floor to amend Resolution 12617 from its current 900,000 to 100,000. Do I hear a second? Second comes from Commissioner Petty. Any questions or comments on the amendment? My board reflects Commissioner Mason, but I think you pressed to speak earlier. Do you have a question or comment that would refer to the amendment? No. And then I'll come to you again momentarily. Commissioner Sturgeon has already spoken. Commissioner Clifford on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there anything you're aware of that would keep this commission from terminating our relationship with you at any time if we felt that it was improper or inappropriate for us?
No.
Okay. I would suggest that a deferment wouldn't make much sense. I think we could terminate anytime we want to, anytime we review something and we all felt it was inappropriate. So I won't support the deferment just because I think it needs to move forward.
I didn't defer.
Commissioner Lawrence on the amendment.
I didn't defer.
Okay, I'm trying to understand the amendment. So the amendment is for $100,000?
Yes, the idea is that we would be able to have money there to continue to pay Mr. Neal while some of the questions regarding the services that he's providing are answered.
So he's already billed $86,000, so that doesn't leave a lot of extra for.
So then maybe we need to amend to 200. Has it been paid?
Did we pay you the $86,000 already, or is that what we're voting on tonight? Is it the 86 part of this 900 or?
I've billed for 1 month of services and I've been paid for that. I have not billed for December or any other period of time.
Okay, so is the 86,000 part of the 900,000? Or you may not know that, but.
Fees are not in the current budget,
It is. Okay.
so we need to put money in the budget. Phoebe's coming up.
Yes, please, Ms. Riley. So my understanding was we already voted on this in November. It passed 22-1 to pay you $900 an hour. Every commissioner here has already voted yes to this. Why are we voting on it again?
Phoebe can answer that.
So, yes,
voted
the
yes.
86 that we've already paid is included in this 900, because we had
You
not
voted.
budgeted anything for his service, because obviously we didn't know at the time of the budget that we were going to have the service included in that line item. So we have budgeted currently 0 for his services. So we need to get the 86 in that we've already paid, as well as the current amount that we owe for the month of December and through
Tonight.
January 12th. So, yes, sir.
Okay, so this purpose of this resolution is simply to get a line item on the budget? Is that what this is for?
It is to increase the legal line items so that we can pay him throughout the fiscal year. Any money that we do not spend obviously will go right back into the fund balance at year end. This is just to keep me from having, I either come to you now for money or I come to you in a couple of months.
Okay, but Commissioner Beather just mentioned, we approved his salary or his hourly rate.
Correct.
So why do you need another approval from us?
I do not need approval for his hourly rate. You have approved that, but you did not, along with that, approve money in the budget for me actually to expend those funds. So I have to now pay for the
Which puts it in the
services in
budget.
which we have agreed to.
But you've already paid him.
Yes, I have a line that is for legal services, and I
Okay.
have used that.
Okay.
But if we pay him as well as our other legal services providers, then I will not have money at June 30. I will be in the hole for several $100,000.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Stresser on the amendment.
While I appreciate the spirit of the amendment, I agree with Commissioner Clifford. We're going to get a lot of answers and clarity to what the billings look like before the next meeting. And we do reserve the right, if we're not happy or comfortable with our legal counsel, we can obviously make a change. So I think the appropriate thing at this point is to approve this line item for the budget. And again, we have ultimate flexibility with legal counsel here. And I think it'll be helpful for all of us to see kind of the workflow, the financial side of all of this, but we'll have time to do that before the next meeting. So I'm going to vote for the resolution as is.
Commissioner Sanford on the amendment.
Yeah, this is mind-baffling to me. I don't support this amendment. This commission, y'all didn't give this much scrutiny when Paul Webb brought forth the resolution to spend $2 million on hand dryers for the Ag Center. This is crazy right here. This man is an expert in his field. Pay the man what he's worth. We're going to get the money back from the hospital, regardless one way or another. Pay the man. This is crazy.
Commissioner Hayes on the amendment.
So you just stated that you have billed services for December. So I do support the amendment. Goes back to my original comment. Work has been done. I would have expected work's been billed, it's been done. Commission would have an update formally on email. So I do support a delay. I'd like to look You know what? Maybe we should have scrutinized the dryers a little closer. But hey, is what it is. Now we're scrutinizing. This is a big deal. It's a big deal because there are other experts that could be brought in. So, you know, what's one more month, folks? That's it.
Any other questions or comments on the amendment? If not, if you're ready to vote on the amendment, again, the amendment would reduce the resolution from $900,000 to 100.
Just want to make sure there's a point of clarity on the amendment,
Go ahead, Commissioner Mary Smith.
because I don't think that the spirit of the amendment is actually the 100,000 meets it. I don't think that that actually is the correct amount. I think the idea was just to get the information that we need to all the commissioners. So I don't know that the 100,000 would actually solve anything. So I would like to pull that amendment and
Your motion.
I can, yeah,
200,000. Or pull it.
yeah.
Are you withdrawing?
I will increase the amendment to 200,000 since there does seem to be some support.
The second came from Commissioner Petty. Is that okay with you, Commissioner Petty, to increase the amendment to a figure of $200,000? Okay, I've got a new motion and a new second, increasing the amended amount to $200,000 versus the stated $900,000 amount. Any question or comment on the amendment? Commissioner Torres.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I understand the intent. I think if I understood Phoebe right, we have money in the line today for all legal services. Potentially, we could have a shortfall come late spring-ish, where we would have to come back and revisit. I think the timeline in the presentation that I saw, that any potential action or decision would come in Q3. Am I remembering that correctly, Mr. Neal?
I think that would probably be an aggressive schedule for it.
Q4.
But, and I could, that's right.
Yeah. So, you know, my concern, similar to Commissioner Sanford's, is I think Mr. Neal is clearly an expert. And I think, I don't know what we're accomplishing by delaying it, quite honestly. And as Commissioner Morton pointed out, the intent is that we have rights for the hospital to reimburse us, as well as on the back end, most likely a purchaser is going to reimburse as well. So I won't support the amendment. I'd rather see us keep moving forward and just continue to get the updates as we've agreed upon today. Thanks.
Commissioner Petty on the amendment.
I'm in favor of the spirit of it, but after what Mr. Clifford said, I didn't realize that, you know, we can stop, we can disengage at any time we want. And so, we only charged $86,000 in the first month. That's a lot less money than $150,000. So I'm okay as long as we can take this month by month and make a decision then. And I really want to, once we start seeing the billing, have a little better idea, a little better feel for it. I agree with Commissioner Torres, and again, I'm in favor of the spirit of it, but at the same time, we can accomplish the same thing without the amendment because we have that option to do that.
So Commissioner Petty, is it my understanding you wish to pull your second?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and just pull the amendment based on the conversation here and the feedback and the discussion, which I think was very good. I'm going to go ahead and pull the amendment because I think we can accomplish the same thing without having an amendment.
So the amendment and its second have been pulled. Now we're back to the original resolution. Any questions or comments on the original resolution? I believe Commissioner Sturgeon was up first.
Well, Jennifer was on earlier.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Barb had already spoken, so you.
Commissioner Sturgeon, you've already spoken. I'll come back to you, and I'll go now to Commissioner Mason.
Thank you.
So I serve as vice chair on property. Commissioner Jones is chair. I just want to remind everybody that through property, we have made the decision to have Jesse attend those meetings and update us, give a platform for everybody to ask questions. So I know there'll be times where things will be sent out like his last presentation, but if you have questions, you want to deep dive, dig into stuff, let Commissioner Jones know so we can make a request that when Jesse comes to property that, hey, we want to look at this, we want to look at that. So I just want to remind everybody that we were trying to streamline the process by not scheduling special meetings, and just know that every time property meets, most likely Jesse's going to be there, and if you have questions and concerns, we can address it through property as well.
Before I go to Commissioner Sturgeon, I've had a request just to ask all commissioners who are having conversations amongst themselves to keep those down to a minimum. You're allowed to speak to each other, but we want to make sure that everyone can hear the speakers and the questions as they're being asked and called upon. Commissioner Sturgeon.
Thank you. I have two questions. One is, if we decide to change directions, what does that look like? Who decides that? Do we take an unofficial poll in between meetings that maybe we want to do something differently, or do we have to write a resolution to make this change? We didn't have a resolution to approve the rate. So, I mean, at any point, can we just vote in the middle of a meeting to like change directions?
I'll go to legal counsel on that one.
Is it on? There it is. Okay. Actually, it would take something on your agenda for you to take action, but the board would be able to terminate the contract by majority vote.
Okay, so it
Since
couldn't
they
just be one person's uncomfortable, it would have to be.
That's correct.
Okay. And then just as a point of comparison, can I ask, how much is Mosley being paid to represent the hospital in this transaction?
I do not have that information for you, but I can get it for you.
Okay, is it anywhere close to $900 an hour?
I suspect it's not.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Morton, do you have a question or comment?
Just maybe a point of clarification, and maybe there's hair splitting. I understood that Bassbury and Sims was representing the hospital in the transaction.
Bassbury and Sims is my counterpart representing the hospital for the transaction matter. Bassbury and Sims.
Do you know Bassbury and Sims' hourly rate by chance?
I do not. I suspect it is market.
It is what?
Market.
Any other questions or comments on the resolution? If not, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of Resolution 12617, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
21 yes, 3 no.
Resolution passes. Thank you, Mr. Neal.
Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.
Now we're under the category of other. The first resolution under this category is Resolution 126-1, a resolution of the Williamson County Board of Commissioners regarding commission oversight and independent legal representation in connection with Williamson Health. The resolution did not go before any committee at the request of the author. Explanation, please, Commissioner Richards.
Thank you, Chairman. Colleagues, I want to be very clear about what this resolution does and does not do.
I didn't get a motion in a second. I apologize.
I'm sorry.
Let me do that real quick. Proper motion made by Commissioner Drew Torres, seconded by Commissioner Stresser. Please go ahead, Commissioner Richards.
It's not about undoing a budget vote that we just had. It's not about accusing anyone of wrongdoing. It's about commission oversight and who legal counsel represents and when county-owned assets of this scale are involved. Let me begin with some important history that I don't think most of you are aware of. In 2011, the full county commission adopted a formal resolution stating that the Williamson Medical Center was not for sale. It's resolution number 61112. They declared it's not for sale and not surplus property. The action was sufficient at the time to stop any forward momentum toward a sale because it reflected a clear policy direction of the governing body with oversight authority over county-owned assets. The resolution has never been rescinded to my knowledge.
As of today, it remains the last formal policy position adopted by this commission on the question of the hospital sale or disposition. If that resolution was sufficient then to halt the sale process, it is sufficient today unless and until this body affirmatively decides otherwise. Importantly, the commission has not approved a hospital sale process, and it has not approved a transactional legal work towards a sale. What has occurred instead is that the hospital board has initiated activities on its own without prior approval of this commission and without this body being fully informed of those activities developed. These activities have been described as strategic planning or evaluation options, but issuing requests for proposals, soliciting bids, and engaging transactional counsel go far beyond internal strategic planning. These are market-facing actions that signal intent, create reliance, and carry legal and financial consequences for the county. That distinction matters. With respect to the $900,000 outside counsel budget amendment we just approved, that resolution funded a budget line item. It did not define governance. It did not clarify. The resolution does. At the November meeting, outside counsel was introduced at a substantial hourly rate and described as temporary without prior commission authorization. Reasonable questions were raised. This resolution does not interfere with planning, and it does not premeditate any outcome. It simply reaffirms that when this commission is asked to exercise its fiduciary duty over county-owned assets, we are entitled to independent legal advice that reports to us. A yes vote today does not authorize a sale, it does not reverse any prior vote, and ensures that this commission's oversight role, clearly exercised in 2011, is respected today. For those reasons, I ask for your support.
Question or comment first from Commissioner Sanford.
Two things. First would be Bobby. Since he brought up that resolution from 2011 or 12 that's stopped, that says the hospital's not for sale, does that carry over and it's active now? Can the hospital board?
This board still has the authority to approve a sale, if that's what you're asking me.
Okay. And then secondly, for Commissioner Richards, we have independent counsel back here in the back that we've hired. I don't understand why we need more legal counsel.
It would be my opinion that that counsel is conflicted.
How so?
It was appointed by our own internal counsel, or at least picked by our own internal counsel, that is under investigation for a conflict of interest.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Commissioner Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple of questions as well. I have brought up the question of whether the hospital should be declared surplus before any sale process can be initiated. I don't believe I've gotten an answer to that question. I don't know if Jesse can answer that or counsel. It would seem to me, especially given the prior resolution, which I didn't know about, but the 2011 County Commission decision, in order for any sale to go forward, that this body would have to come to a conclusion that we want to declare it surplus, would we not?
That's correct.
And we haven't done that.
No, sir.
So are we getting the cart ahead of the horse here? Just, could we bring Jesse up to ask him that question?
Thank you. I did record your question on that front at our last property committee meeting. We have researched that. I do agree that it likely needs to be declared surplus. The process and sequence in terms of the RFP, the evaluation, the letter of intent, the closing date, we have some flexibility with that, and I don't think we have to predetermine how that will be applied, but structure in a way consistent with state law is certainly doable, and we have looked at that, and we can advise you on the best approach there.
Okay, so you don't think we should declare, or we need to declare, or we must declare it surplus before we can go forward with an RFP process?
I did not see any indication that the declaration of surplus had to precede that process. The hospital initiated a process under a strategic evaluation, and that did not need any kind of declaration from the county government. In terms of declaring a surplus, my reading on it, based on your question, is I agree that there likely needs to be a declaration of surplus. It is not dictated in terms of timing or sequence of when that has to happen.
No, I guess that's all of my questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Mason.
Thank you. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this, and I probably should have done this before I pushed my button, but I want to point out to this commission, attorneys come in all shapes, sizes, and specialties. I know a lot about criminal prosecution. Chaz knows a lot about animals. Sean does a lot.
I thought you were a mortgage attorney.
And so we all have our specialties in, I get divorce questions all the time from my parents and who are divorced, ironically, and I don't know how to answer them. And so when you are dealing with a specific type of law, you go to a specific type of lawyer, which is why we have engaged with Jesse. Same thing when you have a medical issue, same thing if you have a car issue. And at a certain point, we have to put our trust in the process. And when we met with him at property, we asked him, based on everything we're hearing, because I keep hearing transparency, things are happening behind closed doors, and the way Jesse laid out the process and how he's been involved in these transactions before, we're right on target. Everything that's happening, there's not all this malfeasance that's going on that no one knows about. The hospital is entitled to do their due diligence, and they have some protection because of their proprietary information. And at a certain point, when we get there, we get to be a part of that. We get to look at it. We get to evaluate it. And so I keep hearing about transparency, but that's not the process, and that's not where we're at. And so at a certain point, we have to understand the process. And that's the way I understand the process. That's the way it was presented at property. And so I don't really understand this continued mistrust of the entire system. And maybe that's what it is. It's just a mistrust of the system. But as an attorney, I understand there are rules and there are regulations, and we follow them. And that's exactly what we're doing. And so I don't have an issue with the process. I don't have an issue with how we're doing it. And quite frankly, I hate that Jesse continues to sit here and is billing us while we're going around and around in circles talking about whether or not we're following the correct process. And so that is my 2 cents.
Thank you, Commissioner Mason. Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I apologize. I've lost my voice this weekend at wrestling tournaments. So I'm going to kind of go along with Commissioner Mason here. I think my issue with these resolutions that are coming forward is it comes from a place of mistrust. I'm on the hospital board as well as 3 other county commissioners on there, right? And we serve on that to ensure that we're watching out for what's in fiduciary best interest for the county. I'm not a hospital expert, don't pretend to be, but I sit there on there from a community perspective and from a county commissioner's perspective on the board. I think the Board of Trustees has sent a very clear signal that is in the best interest to explore the option of sale, right? And in the process of doing that, we are soliciting proposals to understand what is the value of the hospital. But at the end of the day, they're going to come to you, we will come to you with a recommendation, and this commission controls the decision as to whether it proceeds or not. There is no obligation of this commission to follow anything that the Board of Trustees comes to you with, but it would be extremely unwise to not listen in detail as to what the final recommendation is. And just because an RFP is being has been proposed and solicited, it doesn't mean that the board's even going to come back with a recommendation to sell the hospital in the first place. But it is in the best interest of this county to at least explore that option and to come back with some very detailed information. Okay, and I think that's the problem with this resolution, is it's flipping the role, pretending that the county commission is the one that should be initiating this. And we certainly could if we were having issues, right? But I don't think the hospital does not create issues for us. It's the hospital that's recognizing, hey, it's in our best interest to do this. And in reality, what for the most part, the commission is, it's really about the allocation of the proceeds. right? Now, that can weigh into our decision as to whether we move forward or not with it down the road. But that has nothing to do with testing the market and understanding it in more detail as to what is the valuation. So let's not confuse those two. It keeps getting confused, and there's this narrative of mistrust that's being put out, and I just won't stand for it.
Any other questions or comments regarding Resolution 126-1? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. If you're opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Commissioner Sturgeon? Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
6 yes, 18 no.
Resolution fails. Resolution 126-2, a resolution authorizing the Williamson County Board of Commissioners to initiate a request for proposals and retain an independent consultant to advise the commission regarding potential transactions involving Williamson Health. Got a proper motion made by Commissioner Mary Smith. I don't as of yet have a second. Second came in from Commissioner Pete Stresser. This resolution did not go before any committee, again, at the request of the author. Explanation, please, Commissioner Richards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This resolution is straightforward and limited in scope. It authorizes the Commission, not the Hospital Board, to issue a request for proposals and retain an independent consultant whose sole client is this body to advise us on potential transactions involving Williamson Health. The reason this matters is simple. The Hospital Board has retained their own financial and strategic consultant, and that consultant appropriately serves the Hospital Board, not the County Commission. This commission has a separate fiduciary duty to the taxpayers, and fulfilling that duty requires advice that is independent of the Hospital Board and its retained consultants. What is especially concerning is that firms with direct recent exposure advising counties in hospital transactions, including firms that have successfully advised counties like Blount County, were never contacted to represent Williamson County in this process. This is not a criticism of any one firm. It is a recognition that no competitive, commission-controlled process has occurred to ensure we are getting independent, best qualified advice. Issuing an RFP is not about choosing a transaction, and it's not about favoring or opposing any outcome. It's about ensuring that when this commission deliberates, we do so with our own independent expertise, selected transparently, and reporting directly to us. That is all this resolution does, and I respectfully ask for your support. Thank you.
Questions or comments from Commissioner Torres?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I can ask Commissioner Richards just directly, I'm curious just what do you see as being additive on this resolution, or what the consultants might bring that we're not getting from council?
This is above and beyond council. This would be the outside consultants. It would be our Kaufman Hall.
Okay. And do you have an estimated cost?
No, I don't. That's why we would request an RFP.
And then would we retain them for the entire time of up until transaction?
That would be up to the commission.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Morton.
I actually think this is good for us. I think certainly us having independent legal advice, I think having independent financial advice probably makes sense. This idea of a request for proposals to find out kind of what's out there, how we could be better advised. I think there's a lot of overlap between our interests and the hospital's interests, but certainly appreciate that they diverge. Certainly the point that we need legal representation and financial representation, which is what I think would be the supplement here, wouldn't be inappropriate. I am uncomfortable with a direction that says that 5 of our sitting commissioners can have no say. I don't think that that's appropriate. So I would offer an amendment that took out the striking of the 5 sitting commissioners on the hospital board, and with that, then I can approve the request for proposals.
Is that a proper motion, Commissioner Morton?
I'll leave that just as a comment at this time, see what everybody else has to say. That I may have a request for a motion, an amendment to the resolution later.
Understood. Commissioner Matt Williams.
If I can just ask a clarifying question to the intent of this, do you have a general idea as to what the scope of this consultant would be looking at?
It would be similar as what the hospital Kaufman Hall is doing for the hospital.
Okay, so, and this is where my stance on it, and I'm just going to throw a scenario out. There are some county commissions that strike a check every single month because their community hospitals lose money, right? Because our demographic is 99.9% insured, we have a hospital that operates in the black, and that is not a scenario that we've ever run into. If we were in that scenario, this would be a situation where the county commission would initiate this, probably bring a consultant in, look at strategically why we would want to pursue selling this asset, right? But that's not how this is initiated. This is the hospital board coming and saying, if we brought in a consultant, I think specifically what the consultant would need to be looking at is the allocation of the proceeds should a transaction be offered by this, or be approved, be suggested by the board and then ultimately approved by the commission, and how to structure that. I'm not sure that this is how that's written, and I'm not sure that this is the appropriate time yet to potentially look at this. But I think in the spirit of it, should this get a little bit further down, if the legislature comes back and gives us an indication or approval that the proceeds might have a wider range of application for the county's interest, right? Then I think maybe a consultant coming in at that point would be very appropriate. But I don't understand why we would bring a consultant in to do a strategic analysis as to whether an RFP of the hospital is appropriate or not. That doesn't make sense to me, because in essence, Kaufman and Hall is already engaging with the hospital board, who's initiated the process to do that. And when the results of the RFP and the recommendation of the hospital board is presented to this commission, all of that information is going to be presented at that point in time for this commission to make a decision. That's all I have to say.
Commissioner Mary Smith.
I agree, this is a really good discussion. I think just the feedback that we're getting from the community, and I think Commissioner Williams hit on it a little bit with just this mistrust, a lot of questions, and I think mistrust on both sides. I mean, I'm hearing from people that are concerned about not wanting to sell the hospital. There's 70 years of history there. They're concerned about what's going to happen, if the hospital should get sold. What does that mean to them? And I've talked to people that have written into their wills donations to this hospital. And so there's a lot of concern in the community, and there's a lot of questions. And I think we're having difficulty answering all those questions because this is the largest financial transaction we've ever gone through. But it's more than just financial. It's emotional. So I think that, having a consultant that can kind of help us through this process, I think, again, Commissioner Williams makes a good point. Is it right now or is it later? But right now, all we're asking to do is put an RFP together to kind of understand what this consultant would do and what they would provide. So I would be supportive of the RFP process just to make sure that we have somebody that we can talk to, we can lean on, that can walk us through this and make sure that everyone's interests and everyone's questions and concerns are being addressed.
Commissioner Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is going to be the largest financial transaction in Williamson County history, without a doubt. And we definitely want to make sure we get this right. We are the representatives of the taxpayers. The hospital board is not. We are their elected representatives. They are not. That's a very distinct difference between our boards. There may be some conflicts of interest that they have that may steer them in a direction of a certain decision that a different consultant with a different set of, with a possibly different agenda could possibly look at and say they disagree with and believe that there might be another or better option that we should consider. So I agree with Commissioner Morton. I mean, this is like a second opinion, more or less. We're going to have a different consultant, set of consultants that could give us a second opinion on the different proposals that come in. I also agree with Commissioner Williams. I don't think we need two sets of RFPs out there. That would be very confusing to the hospital community, I think, if we put out a separate RFP that the hospital board, we don't have privilege right now to the hospital's RFP or that process. But if there was a way we could, if we could hire a consultant that could be engaged with the RFP process alongside the hospital consultants, that would eliminate the need for another, RFP. And I think that would be, again, very confusing and redundant and unnecessary. I'm not sure we need to take that whereas that. Really, the purpose of this resolution, and as I see it, is simply to put out a request for proposal for a consultant. If that doesn't mean we're going to hire that consultant. It doesn't mean we're going to engage. I don't think this resolution binds us, correct me if I'm wrong, counsel, binds us to sending out a separate request for proposal. If we were to decide to hire a consultant, I think at that point we could decide how we could engage with the current RFP. So I support the idea of the resolution as long as we're not binding ourselves to a couple of things that, the issue that Commissioner Morton, he may bring a resolution later on or amendment on. But as long as we're not binding ourselves to that, could we support this amendment to do a request for proposal, and would that be binding us to do a separate request for proposal for the hospital?
Well, obviously, under the language of this resolution, you are directing the county to start that process to request a separate request for proposals. Okay. Now, some of the language in the resolution really needs to be amended. Number 5, like Commissioner Morgan says, I don't believe that's within the authority of the county commission to take away statutory authority of one commissioner or two commissioners. So I do raise that concern while you were considering this.
You follow up?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Clifford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a comment, and then if I could, I have a question for council, if you'll allow him to make his way up to the podium. I'm just not sure what the RFP is doing, so I do want to ask some questions. For my limited experience working in a big firm with other lawyers that did, company buying, selling, M&As, it wasn't just hiring a lawyer to draft a contract. That was the deal team. It was advising on the best interests of the client, whether it made sense to go forward with a deal or aspects of a deal, and if not, don't do it. If so, here's the best way to get through this deal to maximize your return for that client. That was my understanding working with you and your team of people that you told us earlier that you're working with, from senior partners, mid-level partners, associates, paralegals. You guys are the deal team for the county commission and the sale of this hospital. So my question, I guess, a couple questions. A, is that true? And maybe elaborate on that. B, from your experience representing governments in transactions like this, what would be your recommendation based on what you're hearing for the need of an RFP or a consultant in addition to yourself at this point in the process? And what would you suggest that we consider?
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner, for that question. First, in terms of the deal team that we put together to help support the commissioners, it is a full service, full range of specialties and backgrounds to help evaluate the legal and economic impact and community impact of a potential transaction. We've done those in Tennessee and we've done them in other states as well. And so that is the service and scope of the engagement letter that we have signed. And I think we are as strong as any organization in the country and able to provide that support service to you. In terms of what I have seen, I think that is a fair question. It is not unheard of for a county government to engage a supplemental financial advisor of some sort. And there's a couple different flavors to that. You don't want to just hire someone to check the checker. That gets very expensive for everyone involved. But having someone who can collaborate and engage directly with the county, with Kaufman Hall as their counterpart, that is something that I have seen not most of the time. It's a minority rule, I would say, but there are times where that engagement is pursued. And it's more so in the idea of a fairness opinion, someone who can give and look at the data, the economics, the market, and give a feedback in terms of the overall package that's being proposed. And so I think it can be tailored to Williamson County if that is the direction it goes. I do think that you would want it to supplement and add value to the exercise that Kaufman Hall is already engaged to do, as opposed to a parallel process that processed the same data, evaluated the same market trends. I think that would be how I'd characterize it.
Follow-up question, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Would you be in a position to provide us with some advice as to what that could look like if we were to pursue an RFP or financial advisor, or however you just framed that, and at what point in the process?
Yes. I've got experience currently and historically doing exactly that, so I'm glad to prepare that if you'd like.
Okay. Having heard that, I would like to make a motion to table this resolution until we receive advice and recommendations on behalf of our lawyer as to what we might need and to when we might need it. I just feel like I am certainly ill-equipped to vote on whether we need to move forward with an RFP at this point for a scope that has not been identified in this resolution, but perhaps it could be at a later date. I just don't think it's ripe right now, and I am definitely ill-prepared to vote on it. So I'm going to make a motion to table this resolution.
Second. Got a proper motion to table made by Commissioner Clifford, seconded by Commissioner Tunnicliff. I've got questions and comments on the board. Questions or comments related to tabling, or do I?
It's undebatable.
Is it undebatable?
It is undebatable.
Oh, does it have to be a three-quarters vote or just a majority vote? Okay. I'm told tabling is undebatable. It will pass with a simple majority vote. If you're ready to vote and you're in, she's loading it now in a moment when it appears on your screen. If you're in favor of tabling this, press your yes button. If you're opposed, your no. You have it loaded? Okay, go ahead, and if you're, again, in favor of tabling Resolution 126-2, press your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
16 yes, 8 no.
Motion to table passes. Next resolution is Resolution 12611, resolution accepting a donation of incubators from Friends of Williamson County Animal Center. Public Health was 5-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. I do have a proper motion made by Commissioner Guy Carden, seconded by Commissioner Tom Tunnicliff. To our resident animal expert, Commissioner Morton, explanation, please.
Not often I'm left speechless, Mr. Chair. This is a resolution for incubators for neonatal kittens.
And what are incubators, Mr. Morton?
Well, that's not part of my specialty animal practice, not with regard to kittens.
There are incubator specialists.
Yes.
That would call upon for that. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of Resolution 12611, press your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Commissioner Petty?
Sorry.
Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
22 yes, 2 out.
Resolution passes. Resolution 12613, resolution accepting a donation of walkie-talkies valuing approximately $2,200 from the company called Rocky Talkie. Proper motion made by Commissioner Barb Sturgeon, seconded by Commissioner Drew Torres. Public Health Committee was 5-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes, it's just accepting some walkie-talkies just to allow staff to communicate better inside the building.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Waiting on Mary Smith. You ready to vote, Commissioner Smith? There we go. Record the vote, Commissioner Sturgeon. There we go. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
21 yes, 3 out.
Resolution passes. Resolution 12618, resolution amending the 5-year capital improvement program for schools, roads, fire protection, and recreation. Proper motion made by Commissioner Guffey, seconded by Commissioner Steve Smith. School Board was 12-4-0 against. Law Enforcement did not hear it. Highway Commission was 5-4-0 against. Education Committee was 4-4-0 against. Parks and Rec was 5-4-0 against. And Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is not approving the funding of these projects. This is a planning tool that our departments use. It is also required for our adequate facilities tax and adequate school facilities tax. For that reason, I would ask that you support this.
Question or comment from Commissioner Tunnicliffe?
I feel compelled to say that the reason law enforcement and public safety did not hear this is we did not have the supporting documents. So it's not that we did not agree with it.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of Resolution 12618, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
22 yes, 0 no, 2 out.
Resolution passes. Resolution 12619, resolution accepting an in-kind donation of a bird sanctuary and bench from Boy Scout Troop 48 to be installed in the vicinity of the Williamson County Library. Proper motion made by Commissioner Tom Tunnicliffe and seconded by Commissioner Megan Guffey. Property Committee did not meet this month. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes, this is supporting an Eagle Scout project, and although my animal practice does not include birds either, it is a great Eagle Scout project by Troop 48.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 12620, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement with the town of Nolensville, Tennessee for the reimbursement of costs associated with software licenses purchased by Williamson County. Proper motion made by Commissioner Steve Smith, seconded by Commissioner Betsy Hester. Law Enforcement did not review it. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Tunnicliffe.
Yeah, once again, we did hear this one, but that's all right. We're going to get that figured out.
4-4-0 against?
I don't know exactly. I've slept since then, so I apologize.
Okay, I'm being told law enforcement was 4-4-0 against.
We are just trying to get reimbursed. We're not trying. We are going to get reimbursement back from Nolensville for some software that was required to make their system work with ours, if I believe I'm correct, and Connor's nodding yes.
Question or comment from Commissioner Mason?
Mine is not about the resolution, it's about the would not review. I've seen it on a lot of these, and my question was going to be, is it would not review, or is it better did not review? Or it sounds like in this case it was reviewed. I'm just thrown off. I've never seen the would not review, because I don't recall even at property us going, oh, we're just not going to hear that.
I
So I'm
was
not sure
told
where
that-
this is coming from.
I was told it had to do with it not being on the agenda in time, but I'll
Which-
let Commissioner
Okay.
Tunnicliff, the chair of that committee, give a better explanation if he can.
I'm not sure I can.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 12621, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement with the City of Franklin for the provision of firefighting and emergency response services. Proper motion made by Commissioner Tunnicliff, seconded by Commissioner Steve Smith. The Law Enforcement Committee, I have it down as 3-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Tunnicliff.
Yeah, I would require some help from the county on this one to bring me up to full speed on it again. I apologize.
No worries, sir. Connor Scott, I'm the safety director. I know you know that, and I sorry for that. This is an agreement between the county and the city of Franklin for them to help us out on unincorporated area in the area of 65 and 840 that they can get to more quickly for fire response from their station at the Ag Center. They're just more closely located to it. They can get to it quicker. There's no money exchanging hands on this deal. It's just them helping us out.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, did you have a question, Commissioner Smith? No, that was for the motion. I apologize. If you're ready to vote, oh, you do have a question. Okay.
Is this basically a mutual aid agreement for a specific area?
It is. It's an auto aid agreement so that as soon as we are dispatched, they are dispatched at the same time. Mutual aid would be where we are dispatched and we get on the radio and ask for them to come. Okay. This will be automatically instituted.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Williams?
I just want to say, I know this has been a long time going. This has been a multi-year discussion and working through a lot of details to finally get to this point. So just appreciate all the hard work that's gone into this.
And more to come, hopefully.
Yes.
Still working on it.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 12622, resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of a master services agreement with Powder Tails for management of special duty work by Williamson County Deputy Sheriffs, authorizing payment of employees for such work pursuant to special duty law enforcement provisions of the Fair Labor Standards Act, and addressing the treatment of such payments for purposes of the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System. Proper motion made by Commissioner Greg Sanford, seconded by Commissioner Steve Smith. Law enforcement I have down did not review it.
Correct.
I'll take that as a
Correct.
correct. And then budget was 4-4-0 against. For the explanation on this one, I'm going to go to our legal counsel, Bobby Cook.
Well, how about
Or
that?
no?
Oh, did he tell you? You wanna call
I think
him
you wanted to go
first?
first, or no? Unless, O'Neill, I can call, for explanation, I'll go first to Commissioner O'Neill.
It's not as complicated as it sounds. I believe everybody worked this out amongst budgeting and human resources, but it's to better administer the off-duty employment that where people, private parties hire the deputies, and all the cost of this is going to be borne by the persons that are hiring the deputies.
You have anything to add to that? Okay, unless there are any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 12623, resolution declaring certain county-owned weapons as surplus. Proper motion came in from Commissioner Tom Tunnicliff, seconded by Commissioner Guy Carden. Public Safety Law Enforcement was 3-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Tunnicliff.
This is for 2 rifles that are still to be declared surplus that were, I believe, missed on the last one we ran through on this.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 12624, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into an equipment rental agreement with Diverse Computing, Inc. Proper motion from Commissioner Tom Tunnicliff, seconded by Commissioner Greg Sanford. Law Enforcement Public Safety was 3-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Tunnicliff.
Yes, after speaking with IT and also with the Sheriff's Department, this is a piece of equipment that will be used at the courthouse to allow us to connect to TBI and other law enforcement agencies, which we could not do without this piece of equipment.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Commissioner Sanford. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 12625, resolution to convey Williamson County's interest in real property commonly referenced as the Fairview Ballpark to the City of Fairview and authorizing the county mayor to execute all documents needed to convey the property. Proper motion made by Commissioner Mary Smith and seconded by Commissioner Ricky Jones. Parks and Rec were 4-4-0 against with 1 abstention. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
About 30 years ago, City of Fairview asked our Parks and Rec Department to take this park over. They have now asked for it back, so we are giving it back to the City of Fairview.
Question or comment from Commissioner Ricky Jones?
They will be voting on that on the 15th. They haven't voted on it yet. That's FYI.
They being the City of Fairview.
Yes.
Commissioner Lisa Hayes.
It's also my understanding they're going to reimburse us for $150,000 of investment. Was that not correct? When we do this? Per the Parks and Rec meeting? Anybody?
Gordon, do you have any? Or Rogers, either one?
They're supposed to.
I don't think they're going to pass it Thursday. So we're getting the cart before the horse.
Between the county mayor, Anderson, and the city of Fairview Mayor, Anderson, there has been a request for reimbursement of funds if they approve the transition to acquire the park. One of the stipulations is to reimburse us for the lights that you guys approved as a commission a year ago, a little over a year ago. And it's approximately $150,000. We'll get the exact amount if they choose to follow through on this request.
So we're voting on this before we've gotten their vote on it?
Yes, that's correct. They have asked if the county would be willing to do it. The answer to that is yes, if you actually want to acquire the park. So they are maybe second guessing themselves, I don't know. But as Commissioner Jones pointed out, this is all pending their approval, which they haven't met yet.
Okay, interesting. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
23 yes, 1 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 12626, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a lease agreement with U.S. Congressman Matthew Van Epps. Proper motion made by Commissioner Steve Smith and seconded by Commissioner Tom Tunnicliff. Property Committee did not meet. Budget Committee 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes, historically, the representative for our district has wanted an office here locally. We've been providing that to Formerly Congressman Green and Congressman Van Epps has asked for the same, so this would authorize us to enter into that lease with his office.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 12627, resolution adopting an electronic signature policy for county grant contracts. Proper motion made by Commissioner Mary Smith and seconded by Commissioner Paul Webb. Budget Committee was 4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Webb.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What this does is authorize us to sign grant contracts electronically, and the comptroller requires us to file this statement by approval by this body before that's allowed.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
24 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. As always, we want to thank the sheriff and the sheriff's deputies for being here tonight. Thank you, gentlemen. All department heads for staying late. Is there any other business to come before the commission this evening? Commissioner Mary Smith.
Just real quickly, it was brought to my attention, my name was actually on the consent agenda, so I just wanted to state that I did vote my conscience.
Any other business to come before this commission? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned.